Deals behind closed doors, promises broken. Inner income source, hidden agendas run the grand parade. In the circus, choose a masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line. Television screens, bright and loud. Sell you dreams, make you proud. Pop the bubble, see the cage you're in. Start the revolution, let the truth begin. Welcome to the chaos.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Kat, and this is Daemon, and we are here today. We're going to be talking about femcels, how they're different than male incels, and what I think is going on in that section of the internet. But before we begin, how's everybody doing? And Daemon, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. Doing better than you.
What the heck?
Well, I didn't mean to be a dick, but you did tell me that you're not doing well.
Yeah, because I'm getting my period soon, and that's very important.
Yeah, see, I'm a guy. We don't have that.
Yeah.
Because God loves us.
Clearly, because I've been nauseous, and it's not fun. So, but other than just wanting to, like, I literally have sweatpants on. Like, after this, I just want to get like a big sweater and like a bunch of like snacks and hot tea and snacks, and just sit on the couch and do nothing. And like,
I'll do fat girl shit.
Yeah, that's like PMSy girl shit. Like, when your girl is doing that, she's about to bleed, and that's when she's like, and then she starts like, oh, I don't wanna, and then you have to deal with that shit. But remember, if you don't like that, the alternative is learn to like dudes, because that's how all women are.
It's also how pets are before you have to take them to the vet and have them put down.
Wow. Well, anyways, that wonderfulness aside, anyways, so what are your thoughts before we get on what femcels are? Are you a part of the people that believe that femcels do not exist? It's not a real thing. It's just what, picky bitches or whatever?
Well, explain to me, when you've been doing all this homework into it, what exactly they're supposed to be and what motivates them. In the same way as you have regular incels. Like, explain how you apply that to chicks.
Okay, so what I have found in my research, and this is my theory, whatever you want to call it, it's that femcels are very, like, they have like a romantic absolutism to them. So they believe like in commitment, all or nothing, and being like used and like whatever are definitely like, that is the ultimate thing to avoid, right? So they do not just want to sleep with someone. They want the emotional stuff, because men and women are different. So men are okay with just physical. Women are not okay with it, especially the femcel community, because they are looking for the connection, the emotional connection.
So wait,
they're not looking for sex.
So when so you're saying that they actually want to be in relationships. They want to be in solid relationships.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so how are they a femcel then? Because in that relationship you would have sex.
But they want the relationship before the sex. That's
that's been women before we had whores. That's
yes.
Like, literally watch any 80s romantic movie, and that's the women's wet dream. So like, are we calling all these women femcels now?
That is what they are called now. Any woman who wants a relationship before sex. No. Okay. That's not funny. It's not funny. But
Well,
it's
where's the celibate bit in this? When they get into a relationship, are
no,
they like,
because
oh, by the way, you're
that's
not
the
getting
thing.
sex?
Damon, this is what a femcel is. Like, this is femcel is different than an incel. Femcel wants a relationship and the bonding, and then it leads to sex when you're in the container of the committed relationship, right? And what happens is they cannot obtain the container, and that's why they're celibate.
So you're saying they can't find a guy who'll give them a relationship before sex?
Exactly.
So wait, would we be okay with calling guys incels if they are just like, I want to find a girl before I have sex with her, I want to be in a relationship? Because that's just basically like super religious dudes or guys with like really high standards. So I wouldn't be happy with calling a guy like that an incel. So why are we calling women who do that femcels?
Well, actually, they called themselves that. The whole term,
Okay,
like
so
the
that's just women being
incel.
stupid then.
Look, I'm not saying that's not what happened either. So what happened is there's a woman. Let's see. I wrote down like who she was somewhere. Where is she?
Eve.
No. What was her name?
See, if you never told me about this and you asked me what I think femcels are, I'd be like, I think it's those stupid women that like uglify themselves so that they kind of don't get taken advantage of. Like that wear the stupid like bookworm glasses when they don't actually
Those
even need
are
glasses.
liberals.
Well, yeah, no. I know that liberals kind of co-opted that shit, but I'm just talking
Yeah.
about like in general.
Mhm.
Like the women who think that they're like not hot enough so they won't even try. Like technically those are the women that should be called femcels because it's like you've literally taken yourself out of the fuck pool because you think that you're going to get rejected and you're afraid of getting rejected. So you're like, hey, yeah, it's that kind of mentality of like, you can't fire me, I quit.
Yes, it's the same thing as men for like not getting the sex. They go like, well, then I don't want you, and then become black pill, right? But the women want the relationship first. The men are okay with just having a sexual encounter. They're fine with that, which is the difference. So like, anyways, so it started, I forgot the chick's name. It's lower in all my notes. I have too much notes, so I can't find it quickly. But so it was this chick, she made a website, and basically she was like complaining about her life, about how she's trying to find love and whatever, and she's still a virgin because she hasn't been in a relationship yet, and she doesn't do, one night stand. She doesn't do like, just nice to meet you, let's bang. She doesn't do that stuff. So she's trying to go on dates and she's not getting anywhere with the dates. The dates are not progressing. So then she's never entering a relationship, and then therefore she's never having sex. And she's like, I don't know, 28, 30. And then she's writing about how she's jealous of her other friends who are very attractive, so they can like land the relationship and then they can have the sex, right? And she's complaining about like, it's not fair. Just because I'm not as attractive, I still want those things, blah, 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 right? So I don't think that this is necessarily like the women who purposely make themselves unattractive. It's just, my theory is that this is just the end result of the sexual revolution, where all the attractive people get to have all the sex and relationships if they so choose. And then the not as attractive people that want something first, nobody's putting effort anymore because they expect things immediately. And I actually have friends online, male friends, that go like, oh, if she didn't put out on the first date, I will never talk to her again. And this is just like then this is also what the red pill community perpetuates. It's like, if she's not having sex with you immediately, then she's having sex with 100 other guys. Whereas these femcels, they are also not having sex with anybody, but they're trying to get the relationship. So this is like where the big headbutt goes. And now we have, for the first time ever, like a huge amount of virgin men and virgin women, which is like, this is like the first time, because before everybody would pair up. You'd pair up by your status, your looks, your whatever, right? And then you'd get married and you'd be off the market. And then when people were looking on the market, they would only see people who were like similar, right? Because everybody else would be off of it. Now you have the most beautiful people and the least attractive people all on the open market competing against each other perpetually.
I think that realistically, if we're being honest, I think that you only see that phenomenon happening when it comes to pairing up for sex, not for relationships. And if you ever do see it happening for relationships, then they're not stable relationships. This is where, because guys have realized that guys realize that, look, oh hey, the only way I'm going to get what I want is if this girl gets the promise of a relationship, right? So they'll stick with girls, and they'll lead the girls into believing that, oh, this is going to be a long-term thing. He really loves me. It's like, no, he doesn't. He's with you until something better comes along, and because you give him what he wants. So that's all it is. And then they're like, I don't know, I can't believe he did this to me. Like, why would he have done this? Blah, blah, blah. It's just because you weren't putting out what he wanted, and he realized that the only way he can get this is if he makes you believe that it's a possibility. So you got played. And it's like, this isn't rocket science. I mean, we know that guys do this.
Yeah,
But,
of course.
and you can say it's wrong. You can say it's wrong. Of course it's wrong. Yeah, it's wrong. But, I mean, you're living in a society where everybody has this expectation of like sex. No, nobody believes, let's be honest, nobody really, well, people do, but most people don't believe the only way I'm going to get sex out of you is if I put a ring on your finger. Like society, culture, whether you think it's right or wrong, has moved beyond that. So a lot of people are going to play on this idea of, I'm going to promise her some kind of expectation of a relationship. Maybe she's not expecting marriage, but maybe she's like, look, I don't want to just put out with any guy. I'm not willing to have one night stands. I'm not willing to be in a fuck buddy relationship. And fair enough, that girl's got standards, right? But the guys might be like, hey, I just want to have sex with her. I'm not looking for a relationship, but she's not going to have sex unless we have one. So, oh, fuck it. Okay, I'll tell her yeah. And unfortunately, whether it's a problem of guys doing this or whether it's a problem of girls falling for it, it keeps happening. But that notion of like, you know, these average to mid girls, like, you know, mid girls to like, let's say threes, all competing and expecting that they're going to get somewhere with guys who are like nines and tens, and the guys who are nines and tens giving them that attention. Let's be honest, you're not going to, this isn't a phenomenon like, and I've seen a lot of people say this, it's not a phenomenon that happens like in relationships. It happens when it comes to just sex, not relationships. No long-term relationship dude who's like a 8 is going to settle for a girl who's a 3.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does, she's getting screwed over.
Yeah, I mean,
and the sad thing
that.
is that, yeah, red pill guys and girls and like, you know, like trad women, like all these kind of people keep saying like, oh, this is the phenomenon that you see, blah, blah, blah. This is because of OnlyFans. Like you'll see all of these people are competing with these guys. Yes, just for sex. So what's important to you, competing for sex or actually having a relationship? Because if you're talking having relationships, you'll still find that the 1s and the 2s and the 3s are going to usually end up together. The 4s, the 5s and the 6s are going to end up together. And the 7s and 8s are going to end up together. And the top tier 9s and 10s are going to end up together. And if ever that doesn't happen, it's because somebody's getting something else that they want other than sex and other than relationship and, you know, emotional fulfillment. They've traded it for other things that's worth it to them.
Yeah. So there was this woman that I was reading about in, I think it's the 1970s. She was an anchor woman and she was not hideous or anything. She was in shape, whatever. And she was mad depressed because she was, I think she was about to hit 30 and she hadn't found a husband or anything. And she was very jealous of her other friends who were already married and had kids and blah, blah, blah by then. So she, apparently was really depressed, and she took her life on air. Like, she was the first
Whoa.
person to kill themselves on live television. Yes. And this was the reason behind it, because she could not find someone who would marry her. So this was the
And she wasn't even
1970s.
30 yet.
Yeah, and she was about to be 30, which is, like, they're telling everybody now, you're expired by 30. And they've always said that, for women, because it's harder to have children and family and blah, blah, blah. And she was reaching that point. So then she's like, well, if I'm expired, if I'm useless, then I'm going out, right? And that's
Jeez.
what she did. Yeah.
What was her name? What was her name?
Christine Chubbuck. It's not a great name, but let me see if I can.
Yeah, if she married a guy, it would have changed.
Poor thing. Well, it did not work in her favor. So anyways, this is she. It's really hard to get the good picture. So
Well,
this
she's
is
a
her.
news anchor, so she can't be rough as hell.
Yeah, she's not terrible. She's like fine, and she's got big boobs. I mean, I don't understand what's going on here. People are just so
Yeah,
picky.
I think we call this, like, let's be honest. You take her own life, we call that mental illness, right? She's not playing with a full deck if she thinks, I can't find a guy and she's not even 30 yet, and she decides to just off herself. That isn't stable.
No.
She probably spared a dude, from a lifetime of misery. Because let's be fair, like, a guy gets involved. I don't mean that in a rude way, but let's be fair. Imagine if a guy did put a ring on her finger, right? And she's like, well, I'm in a relationship now, but she would find something else to be miserable about and then off herself. And what if she's got kids by that point? You're ruining more lives. I mean, she already had the thing of, like, let me do it on TV and national television so that, like, I fuck shit up for other people as well.
Yeah, it's not a good look. But again, a lot of people have depression and mental health issues now more than they did back in the 70s, back in her time. And
it wasn't that. Yeah, she had those issues before they were even popular.
Yeah, so she was a pioneer when you think about it.
Yeah, the patron saint of self-harmers.
Yes. Anyways, so that was kind of like the start of, like, when people started paying attention to, like, depressed women who couldn't get married, blah, 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 blah. And then if you look at attachment theory, the women who demand the relationship and the security before are actually the more psychologically stable ones, because the ones that are just like, they don't need to attach first are usually the ones who are avoidant. So, like, they didn't have, like, stability growing up, right? So they're more like, they just, whatever happens, they go with the flow, because they're not used to stability, so they don't know how to create it in their own lives. So it's actually kind of interesting that the people who want emotional safety before opening up physically are the ones who are healthier. And because society is so messed up, unless you're, like, super hot, then it turns you mentally ill, because it doesn't give you the emotional investment part first. Like, there's no, like, courting, there's no, like, getting to know someone as a human being. And a lot of these women, because they grew up actually being loved, which is so fucked up to say, by, like, their fathers or whatever, they are just like, I'm not going to do that with someone who doesn't love me. And then the guys are like, well, if you don't have sex with me, how would I love you? Which is not how it's supposed to work if everybody is healthy, which we're in the sickest mentally ill culture with the most attachment issues on earth. And the people who suffer the most are the ones who are less attractive, but mentally would have been the most secure and stable if they had found love. But when they don't, and they realizes that now their standards don't fit in with a sick society, they in turn become sick and mentally ill themselves. The end.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that when you mentioned courting, I think this is a big thing that often gets overlooked because if you ever listen to people of different generations talk about like, you know, how did you meet? How did you do this? How did you do that? And like, when you look at how relationships used to naturally evolve compared to how it is today,
Hmm.
if you talk to that generation of people who grew up just before like, dating apps and stuff like that, if you said to them, like, put yourself out there, get on a dating app, the only time that guys would ever do that is if they're desperate as shit and they just want sex. No guy is ever thinking, I'm going to go on a dating app to meet that special someone. And I think most girls, prior to dating apps being a thing, most girls would like literally never, ever, ever do that. They would never be like, I'm going to go on a dating app unless they've reached the bottom, like the absolute rock bottom. And I think
Well,
people need
I
to
found
explore
mine
the
on the
idea of
internet.
why. Well,
Huh?
yeah, I mean,
Rock
and we've all
bottom.
seen how happy you are. No, I'm joking. No, but
Rock
like
bottom.
let's be honest, like we need to think we need to like ask why is there that thing? Why do those people like what did they do differently? And was there a kind of improvement of quality of life if we look at those people like compared to what you have today? Because I think there's a valid reason as to why they have this kind of ick about like going on a dating app. And it is like you can't talk about like the commodification of sex and like women being seen as objects and think that a dating app is okay. Of course, it's literally like a meat market. You're looking at
Hmm.
it's like you're shopping on a catalog to find somebody that you want to be with, and then
Yeah.
and how are you then going to be like? How are you going to act like you're this kind of feminist, or how are you going to act like you're disgusted by the idea of like sex as a commodity? How are you going to act like uh, you have some kind of standards, or you think that there's an issue with people objectifying one another,
Wait,
but
wait.
then
Are
be
you
okay
saying
with a dating site?
okay? But a dating site is not a sex site. There's a
Well,
difference.
of
Unless
course it
it's like
is
one
because
of those
of
that is
course
a
it is
sex.
because no, you're reducing it to pure aesthetics. You're reducing it to purely the
But
physical.
isn't that the reason in society where like you would go up to a girl, you would go up to the pretty girl. You wouldn't go up to the
Yes, but
troll.
so here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you look to a time before dating sites, you're right. Yes, you'd go up and you'd approach the person, but why would you go up to approach the person first? There's a
They were
reason why you're
attractive.
with them. There's a reason. Yeah, but no guy who approached you and spoke to you okay, if he was looking for sex, it might literally be like, I see this girl in the middle of the street, she's beautiful, I need to say something to her. But most of the time when relationships occurred, the reason why the person approached you is first because they're in your circle, first because they did get to know you and then realize, I like this person, I want to talk to them. But on a dating site, you can't do that. A dating site isn't a social space where people are just like going about doing something and then like, actually, I want to talk to this one, I want to approach that one. You're literally shopping for which picture looks the nicest, and you're reading the profiles about what they're saying, which 99% of the time, let's be real, isn't honest. But then you decide, I'm going to gamble on this one, I'm going to gamble on that one, I'm going to approach these ones, I'm going to say something and hopefully something happens. But it's purely based on window shopping. And in reality, when you approach someone and talk to them, it's usually because you might be at a social event, you might be at a gathering, you might be doing something which is an interest that you have, a hobby that you're doing, or whatever, or at the same place of work. There's something that's putting you in that person's kind of sphere, right? And you will have an idea of what that person's like, and you'll like them on some deeper level rather than just, she's got a pretty face, I'm going to say something to her. So, like, even then, like when you started courting, there wasn't this expectation of, I'm looking for something and I know you're looking for something, which is why we're here. There's this deeper thing of like getting to know somebody, and it seems more organic. And I think that if you compare the two, like meeting somebody like IRL versus on a dating app, um, the potential for success is far, far, far greater when you look at the like IRL situation, because it's just engineered for success. Where if you look at dating apps, it's not engineered for like a deeper understanding. It's just like, here's a meat market, have a look at it, pick which one you like, and everyone here is desperate. Otherwise, they wouldn't fucking be here.
Well, I think with the dating app, it incentivizes psychopaths to, you know, because they're the ones who'll excel in that type of environment. If you're a good-looking psychopath or a good-looking narcissist, you would excel there, because you do not care about people's feelings. You do not care about like maybe dating 50 people and hurting everybody and or leading people on or whatever to get what you want. You don't care. If you are like that, if you're a narcissistic or a psychopathic female, you're just trying to get resources, go out to eat, all that stuff. And if you're a narcissistic or a psychopathic male that's attractive, you're just trying to get some pump and dump and move on. It doesn't matter to you if you're those type of people. The trail of trauma and drama and shit like that you leave behind, because you don't care about anyone else. You only care about yourself. So like there's those people, and they are very prevalent and they spoil the waters for everyone. But then you have the people who, if we were back in the old times where you had to be vetted by your friends or your family, whatever, you would only get into a social group if you were not one of those people. Because if you're a narcissist or you're a psychopath or some sort of extreme personality disorder, you would not be in a long-term friend group. Everybody, all your coworkers wouldn't hang out with you. You'd have a reputation. If you did that to one person in the office, nobody else in the office would trust you because they're like, this person's like this. And you'd have a reputation that would precede you. Your actions would have consequences. But when we don't know who these people are, like they're strangers, that's when we're opening ourselves up to a lot of people who are coming into the dating pool that are just malicious intent and destroying what would have been good, normal people and turning them into the most evil selves. Because imagine if you're a decent girl, you go out with a guy, you're a good girl, whatever. Let's imagine, fantasize, right? And then the guy's like, oh my gosh, I love you. And she doesn't know about love bombing and narcissists and all this stuff. Oh my gosh, I love you. You're so beautiful. I want you to meet my mom. I want you to like, oh, what do you want to name your kid? You know, and like, this is a naive, whatever chick. She doesn't know anything. So she falls for this stuff. And he's like, oh, you're my girlfriend now, whatever. And then maybe like he waits a week or something like that. And then he's like, oh yeah, we're going to get married anyway. So let's just bang. And then he convinces her she's stupid, she's naive, she falls for it, right? Now he ghosts her. Now you have someone who's incredibly traumatized. The worst type of trauma is when somebody does something to you and you don't have the opportunity to ask them, why did you do this to me? Right? And when someone ghosts you, you are denied that opportunity, which is why so many people go ill, mentally ill, right? It actually makes you mentally ill if you bonded with them psychologically, physically, and then they do that to you. So then now these women who would have been fine, normal, now they're like, well, if this is what I can expect, then I'm going to do whatever I want to do for me. I'm just going to get resources from them since they all are like this. And then they go online and they're reinforced by all the drama from the women who date a lot, and maybe they did something to themselves and they put themselves in bad situations or whatever. They're getting that. So then they're going out into the market being just as evil as the people who were born evil. They've been made evil, you know, like the villains are made thing. And it's the guys too. The guys will be like, I've taken this chick on like 50 dates and then she just blows me off. And then I see that she's engaged or something to somebody else. So she must have been dating this guy the whole time while I'm paying for 50 dinners. So like it's on both sides. So now you have these people that were perfectly normal, destroyed in the dating market because people don't have consequences, because people don't have like reputations to protect anymore. So they're just like, because they're all strangers to each other. And now they become these evil, malicious people to people who didn't do anything to them. And then you could have a good person, became a bad person, but then meets another good person, but then does the bad thing to them. too. And that's where we are in the dating world.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do definitely agree that like you can have that thing of the abuser obviously becomes the abuser becomes the abuser. You screw
Yeah.
somebody over and they'll go into that kind of like I think that most of the time I hate using the word trauma lightly. But there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of kind of people who kind of like indulge in being traumatized, you know, like they'll never think they can get better. And it's just an excuse for being a shitty person. This is why people with traumas have got like massive red flags. Just saying that you've got traumas makes you like, you know, a big warning sign for other people because it just shows most of the time it's like, I know I could get over it, but this excuses me to be a shitty person. Like it's not my fault, you know. It's my trauma. It's like, well, no, you're being a shitty person, and you're just saying that it's because somebody was shitty to you first, and it's excusing your behavior. This is why,
Yeah.
like, I've got no fucking patience for that.
I mean, I understand the whole
Everybody's got a sob story. Most of us just grow the fuck up and move on.
Exactly. But I've grown up with the idea of you never blame the next person for what the person before did. You never do that. If somebody
Exactly.
hurts you, you do not blame the new person that comes into your life. You have to treat them like an open slate every single time. This is a new person. That's it. But most people do not operate like that. Once they
Yeah,
have
but
been
what does
hurt,
that mean? What does it mean that if you do treat the next person based on what your ex did? What does that mean? It means that you
that
haven't
means,
gotten over it.
yes, that means guilty.
You
That means they're
haven't gotten over
guilty
your
before
ex.
they've done anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's the point. Like we all know this. Don't get involved with a person who hasn't gotten over their ex. And if they're kind of judging you or if they're kind of suspicious and it's like, well, my ex used to do that. My ex, dump that person straight the fuck away. They haven't gotten over their ex. So why would you want to be there? Like they still haven't processed that. And and if you're the person doing that, why the fuck would you want to do that? You're giving your ex more power over you. Like you're like, oh, hey, look, you know, I don't trust these women. I don't trust those women. I don't trust that. My ex used to do this. My ex used to do that. If somebody says that more than 2 times in a fucking conversation, it means that they're still a bitchlet. They haven't gotten over their fucking ex. Their ex is still wielding power over them, however fucking many years after the fucking relationship ended. So just get the fuck over it. Why you're allowing yourself to give somebody all that power over you? And if it's somebody that you hate or somebody that you're pissed off with, why the fuck do that? If you're genuinely angry at them, if you're genuinely pissed off with them, like the best thing that you can do is to just forgive it. This is why people don't understand the meaning of the word forgiveness. You're doing it. You're letting go of what they did to you. Like you're not excusing it. Sorry, you're processing it. You're saying this is what you did, but now I'm done thinking about it. And that's the best way to get over them, and you're no longer giving them power. But
So,
all these girls are like, "Oh, my ex did this, my ex did that." Yeah, and you're still allowing him to continue abusing you or hurting you or whatever because you haven't moved the fuck on.
So there was an article in 2001 in Elle magazine called The Femcel Revolution. And it's all about
2001.
2021. Sorry, that was my bad. 2021, right? And it profiles a bunch of femcels, and they all say that casual sex is like an assault against like their soul, their worth, their being, whatever. And that sex isn't casual, so you can't have casual sex. And the whole society demanding something intimate to be casually given away is making them depressed, right? Anyways, so it's just like they say it's like a loss of dignity without any commitment or any intimacy, emotional intimacy or whatever. So anyways, so that's why. So they do not approve of the casual sex. And because they cannot lock a relationship down, they never reach the point of sex. But then these women, what's interesting is a lot of them go into the male red pill type communities, right? And they see how they talk about women. And this makes them even more afraid to have sex, because they're just like, look, I have to hold out until I get into a relationship, because these guys that I'm listening to online say they will not get into a relationship with me unless I am untainted by other men, right? But then they can't find a guy who will be with them before they risk being tainted, right? So now they're like in this pickle where they're so like in a rock in a hard place. Like if they have casual sex, they're going to get hurt and they're going to be less valuable to men in general. But then if they don't, they're alone and they're depressed. This is the pickle, because you have to understand, if you're in this category, you are attractive enough that you could get casual sex, but you're not attractive enough to get the relationship first, which is where the majority.
Look, despite how shallow certain women think men are, your emotional state, your personality does actually make you look attractive or unattractive. Men are not that bloody shallow. So I think just having that kind of mindset and overthinking shit that much is going to affect how people see you. So I think when women start overthinking things to that kind of level, it is going to make guys just lose interest or kind of think, oh, there's a lot of red flags here with this girl.
So, okay, pretend you are a not so attractive woman. You're not the woman that's getting approached by dudes. Nobody's coming up to you, right? So how do you proceed knowing that men go, if she's slept around, I don't want her. She's for the streets. But you want to have the relationship. See, I don't know like what someone in that situation should do.
Well, there's yeah, I think the first thing is that you'd need to learn how to you'd need to basically first develop an understanding of why number one, you're going to have to think, why do you look at yourself that way? There's you've already got self-esteem issues if this is how you're thinking. And if you think I know when people think they don't look attractive, why, number one, why would you ever say that? Why would you think
first
that?
First of all, can I just remind you to the fact that I put the poor woman who did that on television up, and all the comments was like, whoa.
Well, yeah.
The initial response is like, well, come on.
Yeah, but if you ask those people honestly, was she unattractive enough to have to commit suicide? Would anybody be like, yeah, you look so bad that death is the only way out? Would people really agree with that? Would people genuinely agree?
Nobody would say that, obviously, but there is still
if you want to see things nobody would think.
I know, but by the comments, you can tell none of these people would go up to her.
Kat, we live in a world where people with Down syndrome are getting laid.
With each other.
No, even with other people. There was a documentary about it.
I know. I saw that. I not that particular document, but I've seen some. But those are like the hottest ones. Let's be real.
Have you seen My 600-Pound Life? There's people who look exactly. You've got like a elephant human hybrid that's actually having sex. So why would this girl take herself out? That's number one, it was wrong for her to do that. Number two, it was clearly that she's got mental issues. If you think death is your only way out because you're about to hit 30 and you don't have a relationship, There's something wrong with that.
Now I think it's like 40 when the ladies go nuts.
Even if it was 40, like, why take yourself out? You've got a good job. You're not overweight.
Nobody was back then.
You can do something. But yeah, I mean, I think when anybody's at their worst, all they've got to do is watch some reality TV for a little while. It will instantly make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, reality TV is like so depressing, but it makes you feel great about how not messed up we are. Especially the most beautiful ones, like, you know, like those like Love Islands and, you know, like hot people on an island on a whatever.
This is why I loved California. California back in the day was amazing. It was just full of beautiful women. It was absolutely amazing. You walk down the street, you feel fantastic. And even today, California is great for making you feel good about yourself, because you walk down the street today, you just see loads of people who are like, who've hit rock bottom.
On smack.
They don't even have a toilet to shit in. They live in tents. They're shitting on the floor. They're killing themselves with needles. And it just makes you feel so much better about your own life. Mm-hmm. So there's always something out there that you can look to and just feel better about yourself.
Yes. So, okay, how about this? Let's say you have a daughter, right? She's 30, 29. Let's say she's 29. She's never had a boyfriend. Nobody's come up to her. She's gone to school dances.
I've succeeded as a father.
Nobody's asked her to dance. Nobody's like hit on her in her whole life. She's always out with her friends. Her friends get asked out. Her friends get boyfriend. Now they're all getting engaged or whatever. Nobody's looked at her, and she's just like, nobody at my work finds me attractive enough to ask me out. Nobody in, I don't know, my gym, my sports, whatever team, my this, my that, whatever she's doing. It's just never happened. So what do you tell her? Do you say go on the apps? Do you say...
So that's Daddy's little girl.
God. Just die alone. What if she's like, I'm lonely. I need someone to cuddle with.
So here's the thing. Is she actually unattractive?
Okay, I would say, let's say she's a 3. She's a little shy.
No, I'm not making... No, I've not made a 3
you made
yet.
a 3. This is a horrible...
I didn't make a 3. I didn't make a 3. The maths don't add up.
Okay, look, this is a 3. You ended up with a 3. The chick that you banged one time, she had a lot of plastic surgery you didn't know about, right? Tons, so much, millions of dollars.
No. Even with my numbers,
3.
Even with my numbers, that wouldn't make a 3, Kat. I'm sorry.
Okay, look, sometimes hot people have non-hot children, all right? It happens, all right? So you had a 3. She's a 3. Her personality, she's not very annoying or very loud, but she's very quiet. She's to herself. She likes maybe doing stuff, making stuff at home, like little art.
So she's happy being alone then?
She was, but now she's older, and now she's like, I want somebody. I want a relationship. But every time I go on a date with, she's like, Dad, every time I go on a date with someone, I don't know who this person is. He tries to kiss me, and I'm like, Kat, I don't know you.
If it's your loved one, I'm a good wingman. I'm a really good wingman. I've gotten plenty of girls and guys laid. I'm fantastic when it comes to setting people up. Okay? You've got to think outside the box, Kat. So there's somebody for everybody. You just got to find them, right? So if you're dealing with somebody who, great person, lovely personality, she's fantastic, she's a great person, but she looks like a 3. You tell them, especially if they're loved ones, you'll tell them how to maximize their potential. Get to the gym, get your body in shape. If there's nothing you can do about the face, sort the body out. It will add some numbers up. But then let's say that you've got the body cracking. It's an awesome body, but the face is just still really, really hitting those numbers hard. Mm-hmm. Then you've got to be like, well, what else can we do? Right? Now, if you said her mum had surgery, mm-hmm. then maybe surgery will fix it. If surgery isn't an option, then you can do something else. What are her interests? What is she doing? Volunteer by helping out blind people, right? You're going to meet some dude who's blind, who's probably your age, nice enough guy. He's on benefits. That's cool. He's got an income coming in. You get a disabled parking spot. There's ways around it. You've always look. Maybe it might not be the thing you want to do, but it's better than just killing yourself live on air.
Well, I have another theory. Hear me out. So, wait, first, before we get into that, I want to.
But look, how many people who are blind? How many dudes who are blind have you seen with a really hot chick?
Hold on. What percentage of America is blind? 8%.
Okay, what percentage of American dudes are over 6'4" and earning six figures?
Of American, wait, hold on. American guys over 6 feet earning.
No, 6'4", 6'4". That's what they always say. That's what chicks want: 6'4" and above, and earning six figures.
They say 6 feet, not 6'4". Don't be ridiculous.
Okay.
6 feet earning 100,000 and above. I think it was like 1%.
See, so I'm giving girls.
Sorry,
I'm giving girls.
What? Okay, approximately, this is funny. Approximately 14.5% of men in the United States are 6 feet or taller. However, surveys suggest 33% of US men self-report they're at least 6 feet tall.
Wow.
I love that. That like the
it's that 5'10", but I wear big shoes.
Wow.
So yeah. So what? How many? What was the percentage? 14.
14.5.
Right. Okay. And how many of them earn six figures?
It did not say. So I'm assuming you need to do that female delusional calculate. Wait, giga
Well, that's
calculator.
what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. If women out there are happy enough to look for a dude who's 6 foot and who's earning six figures, and you're looking at well below 14%, obviously, right? Like, let's be fair. Let's say half the guys over 6 foot are earning six figures. Let's imagine that for a minute. You're already looking at 7% of the population, and 8% of the population are blind. So that's a better deal for you. If you're a 3 and you're looking for a dude, it's way easier than I want somebody who's 6 foot. So there's loads of women out there who think they can get a 6 foot dude earning six figures. It should be easier. It should be easier for a chick who's a 3 to get a blind dude.
It's the ridiculousness. It's like, okay, are you unattractive? Well, there's plenty of blind dudes. Oh my god.
Yeah, are you unattractive?
You
get a
better
blind
have
dude.
a personality.
Help. Yeah.
All right. So you recommend, are there blind dating websites? Hold on.
You don't need to. Just go volunteer.
Dating
Volunteer helping out blind
websites for
dudes.
blind people. Okay. Yes. Okay. Blind Me. A dating website
That's
that caters to blind individuals for companionships. Yes. So you're going to have to, if your child is unattractive, make sure the first language they learn is sign language, right? Sign language is where it's
Yes,
at.
sign language. Yes, sign to blind people, because they're going to read what you're signing them. They're going to be able to see it. Kat, do you know what deaf people are? Oh my god. What website for dumbasses did Steve find you on? Learn to
world.
sign.
Hold on. There's one called Disabled World.
You should join it, Kat.
I'm serious. Like, where can we go? Disabled? For the visually impaired. Okay, this is good. All right.
Fucking hell. Fucking hell. On a Saturday.
Look, guys, let me remind you. Growing up,
This guy's blind. Do you know how to sign it? Fucking hell. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Oh my
well,
God.
it's fine. I mean, look. Okay, so if your kid is massively unattractive, blind, dating website, right? What if
Yeah.
they're just like, what if their personality sucks?
Well, you're talking about most of the people out there.
Oh,
If your personality sucks, you have to work on your personality. This is, I mean, oh God. When did this become about fixing shitty people?
look, shitty people need love too.
Well, somebody in the comments earlier on made a good point. What?
What?
You went off. I didn't know what was going on.
Nothing. Go on.
Somebody in the comments made a point, which
Mhm.
is, when did this kind of socialist shit kind of take over with this notion that everyone deserves to reproduce?
Who said that?
Somebody in the comments. I was just briefly reading through, but I didn't remember all the names. Sorry. Not
Well,
everybody gets to reproduce. Not everybody gets to be even in a relationship. You don't get a happy ending. Not everybody
damn,
does.
bro. Well, okay. What about Anson's comment? Okay. My oldest boy is very autistic. Any suggestions for a transparent ginger hooking up with chicks? Well, my first boyfriend was transparent as hell. I thought it was really cool that you can kind of see some of his organs through his skin. I thought that was like really interesting. Like, I like a freak. I like people who like look weird. You know what I mean? That was like, I was really into that. What was that movie, Powder? Where like the guy was
Right.
an albino. I thought that was like the coolest thing. I'm like, ooh, this is a freak. That's nice. So I mean,
So
there's
that's how you
definitely
received.
no. I just got rid of like I just got off the freak kink, and I'm just like I just want someone with a nice jawline and a
I want
nice.
somebody where, I don't have to necessarily see every organ.
Well, you know what? As he gets older, and like white people, like the skin does thin out a little bit. You could see in there. So like sometimes it's like a little creepy. And every now and then I get to see his legs in shorts and I'm like, oh.
That does it for you, yeah?
It's just shocking every single time.
It's shocking that he has legs.
That they're so transparently white, that they're so paper white, like they're so white, not like kind of a shade.
Oh,
No,
you're
they're just
racist.
like, oh God. Well, anyways. Okay,
It's got
so
to be white.
oh, there are websites that I heard of for autistic
Don't tell me
people
about websites if you. Okay, all right. I thought you were going to say
autistic
for
people
dating white
dating,
people.
white people only websites, dating websites, crackers only.
Jesus.
What? It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what? Whatever is your thing, you should be.
They
If you
should
can
call it.
go,
They should call the website sexgregation. It would be awesome.
Lord.
Just for fucking people your own color.
What? Anyways, Okay. All right. If you are a femcel and a decent guy, let's imagine you're a female femcel, virgin, right?
Wait, what? If you're a
What?
femcel and a decent guy,
No. Hold on. You're a femcel, a female.
does being on your period fuck up your brain power as well?
It does. It does a little bit. But anyways, so you're a femcel, but a decent looking guy that would never, ever commit to you, offered you a fling with absolutely zero chance of a future. Would you take it or walk away because it's not enough and you're going to get attached and ruined and depressed?
Well, I think by definition of what a femcel is, you wouldn't go for that, right?
I have a theory.
This will be good.
I think if you were like a 7 or higher on the hotness scale, inside, maybe they'll know it's going to lead nowhere and be nothing, but they would still like risk it if they're not religious or something like that. But I think that most of the options that they're talking about that they turn down, because nobody who's like that attractive is coming towards them. So that these opportunities never happen for femcels. I know some chicks that I would call femcels. They have like really shitty personalities. You know what I mean? They're not very fun or happy. They're kind of a drain to be in the same room with. They're not attractive, but they're not hideous at all. Like you wouldn't be like, that's an unfortunate looking person. You'd be like, if she just didn't pound so many donuts, she'd be fine. Or, you know, I mean, pretty much that's it, right? It's the donut problem. But otherwise,
being fat instantly knocks off at least 3 points.
Oh yeah,
off a girl instantly. Like it doesn't matter how good. I mean, the face could be awesome, but fat, like actually, I'd say even more. I'd say 4 points. 4 points at least.
Okay. So anyways, so let's say for this chick, personality sucks, temperament sucks. She's very low self-esteem. I'm thinking of somebody. Very low self-esteem. Every time somebody says they like her, she already in her mind is like jealous of everyone that they know. And that like this person will leave her. And then she sabotages things before anything happens. And then she complains.
Yeah, that girl isn't going to be in any happy relationship. Like, no guy, no person would want to stick around that. Most guys nowadays know that self-sabotages are like, it's one of the worst traits in a girl. Like, even worse than jealousy.
I didn't hear
because those girls, like, the girls who will sabotage relationships, like girls who are kind of constantly self-sabotaging, like the girls who will push you away for no good reason, like, and it's kind of like shit testing as well is a form of that. So most guys will know, like, if you're with a girl and there's these constant shit tests, you'd back out of that relationship the moment you see it. But girls who are jealous, you can sometimes stick with that because girls are good at gaslighting when it comes to the whole jealousy thing. They were like, oh, but you gave me a reason. Like, oh, but you did this. Would you like it if I did that? And like, sometimes guys will fall for that and you'd stick around for a little while. But the moment, most guys that I know, like, first sign of a shit test, you're out. You wouldn't even play along with it. You'd just be like, yep, I failed this. Bye. We should maybe break up.
So, okay.
Because that's incredibly manipulative.
Describe to me a shit test. Like a
real girls who, well, okay, so I was with a chick who told me while I was at work. Well, she phoned me up to basically let me know she was upset, but didn't say she was upset. Did that thing of like just randomly calling me to have a discussion. And I could see that she was off, and I was like, "What's wrong?" Nothing, nothing. And I'm like, "But I can tell something's wrong, obviously." And it's that whole thing of nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong, but they're talking to you in a way like the world is falling apart. So then,
And you immediately broke up with
when I
her?
was like, "Okay, then." Well, no. This is we're going back now.
Mhm.
Before like before we even had the phrase shit test. Um, so when I was thinking, okay, fine, cool. Well, I'll be home later. I'll give you a call when I'm finishing work. She feels the need to add in the phrase, well, if you don't know what's wrong, then I'm not going to tell you. Oh, great. Fantastic. So it's like, yeah, I fucked up. I wonder what the fuck I did now. Right.
Mhm.
And she hung the phone up. And in my head, I was thinking, I know she's expecting me to call her back. So I didn't. Um, because, why the fuck would I? The moment you let yourself be manipulated like that, you're under their thumb. So already I knew this is a fucking unattractive trait because I think this was the second or the third time that she did that. And the first and the second time I was thinking, like, why are we arguing? Why are you being like this? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, can't we just talk like reasonable people? So I was obviously young and naive thinking that a woman could be reasonable. But when I got home, I found out that she basically showed me a pair of underwear that was not hers.
Mhm.
And she was like, I found this in our drawer, like a woman's underwear, right?
Did you
And
tell her
I
you were just
know,
wearing them on the weekend and it's not a big deal?
well, I knew that they didn't belong to the girl that I was fucking behind her back. No, I'm joking.
What?
I wasn't fucking a chick behind her back. I wasn't fucking around. So I knew that they weren't like, I knew that they weren't from anyone else, right? So either she deliberately put them there to pick a fight with me, right? Um, or because we'd just moved into this place not long ago, and there was a really weird, shitty pair of drawers. That came because the place was like fully furnished, but there were these drawers, and her underwear drawer was like I think the second or the third one down. And if you looked at it, the way these drawers are put in, it could have been that like there was some underwear around the back that kind of fell into the drawer below. So it could have been the people who lived there before us. Um, and I was thinking, like, look, if they're not yours, that's the only other thing I can fucking think of. But I wasn't doing anything with some other chick. No, it couldn't have been some other chick. And why the fuck would she even put stuff in your drawer? She's like, to break us up. I'm like, like, you know, um, so yeah, I mean it was a weird thing, but the fact that she would even fucking accuse me of that like just made me think, okay, look, I'm gonna play along with you. I'm gonna think maybe let's say that you did find this shit and that you're not just kind of like trying to bait me into apologizing for something that I didn't do. I played along with it, but part of me was thinking, could it have been the people who lived there before, or is this you trying to get me to apologize for something? Do you think that I'm cheating on you and that like I'll think, oh shit, maybe that girl did fucking hide some underwear here. Like it was such a weird thing. But the way she kind of like accepted me saying like maybe it was the people who lived there before us. Maybe it was like caught up in the space between the drawers and it kind of like fell out into your drawer. She accepted it straight away. And then we were cool after that. And that kind of made me think, does
So
she
she's not
believe
crazy
me or is
after
it?
you?
Oh, no. It made me think like if I find, because I was thinking like, how would I react if I found some dude's underwear in my drawer? And if she
Yeah.
said to me, it must have been from the people who lived there before, and like it fell into the drawer, would I accept it that quick? And then I thought to myself, no, maybe she just did this to see like how I'd react. And then I started thinking, yeah, this was a shit test. Because if some chick said to me like, oh, it was from the people who lived there before, like even I realized that does sound like a stupid excuse. Even if it was real, it sounds like a stupid excuse.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I just I found more and more situations like this where she found reasons to pick fights for no good reason. And then eventually it was like, she even admitted openly, oh, the relationship's going really well. And if I get too invested, like when it's over, it's going to hurt too much. So I'm like, so you want this relationship to just end? Let's end it now then. Like, kind of, and that was it. We were done.
What?
Yeah. It made no fucking sense. It made no sense. She was like basically saying that like the closer we got, the better the relationship got, the more time we invested in it, the more she started caring. And then she was like, and when it ends, I was like, why the fuck do you think it will end? And she was like, well, of course it will. Everything ends. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and I, the way she was saying it and the way she was talking, I was like, either she wants to pull me down with her into this kind of like depressed mode of thinking, or she wants me to like constantly give her some kind of like fucking emotional support all the fucking time. And I realized this is going to be an uphill struggle, which is never going to fucking end. She's always going to find reasons to be depressed so that I can kind of give her pick me ups. And you can't be with people like that. It's like, yeah, you're there to support somebody, but when somebody realizes, hey, I need a bit of support, like, why can't you just say, can we do something nice? I want to feel good today. Why is it like you have to start shit to like get the like you manipulate your partner into saying nice stuff to you instead of just being like, just be happy with people being nice. Like, I mean, I know it doesn't make sense. Sorry, it's fucking late. I'm tired. But when you're in a good relationship, you always say sweet stuff to the person. You always like do nice things for the person. And if you feel like I need a bit extra today, it's down to you to be like, create the situation for that to happen. And you can create the situation for that to happen in a nice, positive way. But many manipulative chicks don't know how to create the opportunity for that situation in a nice way. They do it in an unhealthy way. So it's like, I want him to be sweet to me. I want him to be nice to me. I want him to like be compassionate. I want him to say something that's going to kind of be a pick me up and to be nice. So it'll be like, I'm going to start a fight so that later on we have makeup sex and he does some nice stuff for me. It's like, no, that's stupid. That's the wrong way of doing it. You don't do it that way. But many girls don't know any other way of doing it. And most of the time it's because they're very insecure. They're afraid of being vulnerable. So they want to act tough, which is why they pick the fight first, because it's like, well, if I'm angry at you, then I'm tough. Because I don't want to look weak and insecure. So I will start a fight with you and then make you think it's your fault. And then you're going to be nice to me. Do you see what I'm saying? That's a very common strategy today. And a lot of guys are wise to it.
So you do know about like how hormones work for women, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when the hormones get too high and then they drop suddenly at certain parts of the cycle, or let's say their diet was off or whatever, and it's just the wrong time, and then boom, they get a huge drop, right? When that happens, they feel massive depression, they feel isolation, they feel all these feelings, and they are looking for comfort, right? Like, am I still safe and secure with this person, right? So then they go to the person and they look for emotional connection, right? So they'll give bids for connection. Like they'll try to hug them, they'll try to initiate something, they'll try to do something. But if the person goes, I'm too busy, I can't talk right now, blah, 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 all this time. After a while, when they're in this hormonal state, then they will start picking fights, right? Because they didn't get the comfort, basically the flood of the good emotions to calm the hormonal spike. So then they're like, well, something must be wrong here. So like, what is it? So then they go like crazy mode. What is it? Are you doing something? Is this happening? Blah, 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 blah. And then that's when they attack you. And if you're very smart about it, you go, oh, something's going on with your hormones. Do you need
Oh, yeah.
more
If you're smart about it, if you're smart, you're going to tell your girl, you're being hormonal. Like, What
You
smart
don't
guy
have
would
to
say
say
that?
it. You don't have to say it, but you have to realize it. You have to be like, this is hormones, and just be like whenever I start acting crazy to Steven, he just goes, "Do you need more affection?" And then I go, I shouldn't have to tell you. And then
I'm just imagine Stephen with his knees shaking, his little see-through transparent knees shaking, looking terrified, just saying to you, "Do you need affection? Please don't kill me."
no, he doesn't do that. He just he gets angry, and then he's like, okay, wait, this like
Hiding in the
bothers me
bunker with
some.
his little soldier's helmet on. "Do you need affection?" God.
Anyways, and then he'll just do that, and then I'll pretend like I don't, like I'm too cool. I'm like, it's just I want you to want to. I don't want to make you, like that shit. And then he's just like,
I don't
fine.
want to have to shit test you into giving me affection.
Basically, right? Like, you should see that I'm like acting crazy, and you should immediately rush to give me affection to calm me down.
All
That's what we
women want a mind reader. It's
Exactly. Thank you. This is what we want. Why is this so hard?
Yep.
So, anyways, all you got to do is follow the cycles.
All as you've got to do to be a good boyfriend is know everything that your woman wants, even when she doesn't know what the fuck that is. They're not asking for a lot, are they?
It's like nothing when you think about it.
And then when you do know what they want, and when you do know what they want, even when they don't know what they want, if you actually come forward and let them know and behave that way, like, oh, I know what she wants, then they're going to be like, well, that you're being a fucking like misogynistic patriarchal dude. Like the guy who goes to the restaurant and the guy who goes to the restaurant and orders the food that his girl's going to have.
I
It's like,
would
did you just
love
order
that.
her? Really? Would you? Because most women would lose their fucking shit.
Because they're
You're
fucking
gonna order
stupid.
for me?
I don't want to talk. So I will whisper to like Steven. I'll be like, I want to get blah, 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 blah. Can you tell them when they get here?
Yeah, but what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't wait for you to tell him? What if he's just like, she'll have this?
I tell him before.
Yeah, but if you don't,
I always do. If I don't, then I didn't get the chance to do it, so that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, I will tell him first.
But would you still be okay? Would you still be okay if the guy orders the
Daemon.
food without you telling him what it is?
Yes.
Why?
Because I don't want to talk to people.
Okay. See, I like it when girls think that's kind of romantic. If a girl thinks that's kind of romantic, you ordered for me, it's brilliant. Because they think that like you're just kind of like taking charge, and but they don't realize that the reason why you're doing it is because you know that you're going to have a 20-minute fucking wait for a woman to decide what kind of food she wants to eat.
No,
because
it's not like that.
always takes ages. Yes, it does. I'm sorry. The overwhelming amount of women that I've been with take fucking forever to order something. I don't know. Yeah. But does that come with that? Can I have this side with this? I'm just shut the fuck up. You're having a steak. That's it. We're eating steak.
That sounds like Steven. He's always like, and what kind of vodka do you have? And what kind of this? And what pairs with this? And I'm like, shut up and pick something.
Oh God. Maybe I dated Steven at one point.
I think he did.
Was he ever a woman?
Maybe. I don't know. But like, oh God, I hate that. I want him to be like one of those guys that just goes, she would like this and this and this, and this one would like this and this, and this one would like this and this, and I'll have this. Thank you so much. I want him to do that. But he's just like, what do you want? Do you still like that? Maybe you change your mind. And I'm like, no.
Oh God.
Oh, I can't rate anyone because I'm not monetized. So you guys can just like go over it. I'm done because I don't have any abilities. Someday.
I was on a stream with Grid the other day. It was actually quite fun.
Whose?
Yeah. It was like a nerd culture stream.
About what? What about nerd culture? For or against?
Just everything. We're talking like no, just talking film and TV, like cult stuff, even comic books. It was like it was a Jake stream. It was fucking good, man. There's some good people out there. Good people on it. Wally was on it. And a couple of others. I'm trying to remember now everybody that was there. Some of them were people who I've not been on with before, but it was fucking good. Oh shit. Hopefully I'll catch you on it next time, dude. Yeah, I was running a bit late because of work.
Okay. So let's finish up the femcel biznatch. This is my my take on the situation. Because like before, society used to pair everybody up when they were young in their early 20s, let's say. It was kind of like musical chairs. And that's how everybody got to mate, because you would mate for life or most of your life or what have you. And the attractive people would be together and whatever. Instead of now, the attractive people, they're more into serial mating, or let's just face it, a lot of them are mating multiple people at the same time because they think it's freaking empowerment. They're like, I can mate with as many people as I want. I don't have to pick anybody. And then they'll nitpick, damn it, on little things about people to like say, no, this one isn't good enough because some bullshit excuse reason here and this one. So they can keep multiple mating, right?
So wait, why did you say my name there?
I'm just saying. There's a lot of, well, you know, this person, I didn't like their pinky finger. I didn't like, you know, their eyebrows.
Okay. It wasn't. No, hang on. It wasn't a pinky finger. It was the thumbs, and it genuinely looked weird. And it's an actual condition. So, like, everything about her was great, apart from that one thing. She had those Megan Fox thumbs, the monkey thumbs.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, but that is weird.
Okay, but they can't all have weird thumbs. Give me like
no,
for every
chick.
No. Okay, the last 10 chicks you banged, give me the reason why you stopped banging them. And be honest, because some of it's going to be, I didn't like her hair, I didn't like her tooth, or some shit.
Okay, so teeth-wise, I won't go with girls who've got fucked up teeth. So any girl that I've been with, they usually had nice teeth, because like a smile is an important thing. But just thinking, okay, so I'll be honest, and maybe this is me being a dick.
You are. Go on.
And there have been, I can think of a time, there was one particular time where I genuinely regretted it. And I did feel bad about it. But sometimes the reason why it ends is because something better comes along. Sorry, I'm just being honest. So like a few times it was that a better opportunity came along. And because it wasn't a serious thing that I was in, it kind of drifted apart. Like I didn't ghost them. Like we stayed friends a couple of times, but it was just kind of like, is this really going anywhere? No, it's not. And there's a better opportunity here.
So you got BBD.
I'm sorry, I don't speak that language. What?
BBD, bigger, better deal. So you're always looking for the next BBD.
I'm not always looking for it, but if it's there. No, I'm not. I'm not always looking for it. Okay, so here's the thing. There's been times where a seemingly better opportunity presented itself, but I was in a relationship. And I was like, no, like what I've got here is developing into something that has the potential to be way better. And it's with somebody who I care about. So just look, I know not all women want to hear this, because most women that I know love to live in this delusion where like their man sees them as the perfect 10, right? But guys will see girls
Mm-hmm.
who that will have better legs than you, a cuter face than you, a better body than you. Like guys will see girls who present themselves as clearly the better option, but they'll stay with the girl. Why? Because do, shockingly to most women, men also do have the capacity to love a chick and be loyal to them. And when
Then
you're
how come you
invested
have
like that,
BBD?
because I wasn't in the situation of at that time being in a serious relationship with those girls.
Were you not in a serious relationship because you didn't like them enough to be in a serious relationship? That's why you kept them.
No,
As
some of the time, like the one that I said I regret, it wasn't necessarily because of my fuck up. It was because of the action. Is because of the chick. So the chick that I was with, unfortunately, she didn't want something serious, or at least that's what she said. She was like,
Mhm.
"La, I'd rather just we stay friends." So she was the one who wanted to kind of like keep it casual, keep it casual, keep it casual. And a few situations came up where we were wondering, like, are we going to get serious? Are we going to get serious? And I did want to be serious with that girl. And I thought that I made it clear to her that I wanted to be serious. But then because she didn't want to, she was like, oh no, it's just fun. Like, let's not mess around or whatever. Then when this other opportunity came along, I was like, okay, cool. Well, if we're not serious, then I'm going to go with this girl. And then later on, she was like, oh, I think it was about a year and a half later, she got in touch and she was like, oh, I wanted you to make a move and I wanted you to show me that. And I was like, I showed you enough. I've proved enough times with this chick that I wanted something more. And now she's trying to kind of like blame it on me that the relationship didn't work out. So whatever. Like, I regret it because I still did want to have something serious with her. But I was like, no, I think I showed you enough and I jumped through enough hoops to kind of prove that I wanted something serious. But she's trying to put like the failure of it not developing into something more serious onto me.
Well, do you think it's also because I think it's just like at a certain point, if you haven't gotten married, you get stuck in the BBD loop and you're just constantly like, there's going to be something else coming on. And it's for guys and girls. Girls, they get humbled eventually, but guys, it takes a lot longer before they get humbled. Usually, like maybe they'll lose all their hair or they'll start getting overweight or something like that will happen and then they'll get humbled. But girls, it's like once they need a lot of work done to
Well,
keep up the same
that's
pace.
because look, men when they get older, as long as if you've got a guy who looks after himself and a girl who looks after herself, when the guy gets older, he becomes more distinguished. When a girl gets older, she becomes fucking old. That's just the reality of it. When you're younger, you can see like a 20-year-old guy or a 22 or a 25-year-old guy with a 30-year-old woman. And in some cases, even older. Like when a guy in his 20s can easily date a girl who's 10 years older. Okay.
Mhm.
And society isn't going to say anything. But when a guy's 30 something and he's dating a girl who's coming on to 50, that's going to be weird. And if she looks after herself, most people are going to think, even if she looks good for her late 40s,
Mhm.
society is going to think she's got money. She's a cougar. He's with her because he's getting something from her. And he could be an average looking guy, or he could even be a hot guy. And if it's a hot guy with who's in his 30s with a girl who still also looks hot, but she's very obviously in her late 40s, most people will still think he's getting something from her. Like she's got money. That's why he's with her. Why else would a guy be with a chick who's 10 years older once you're at that age. Once
But you
she's
also realize the
in those
same is
years.
true for chicks. They're usually with
No,
the
but this
older
is what I'm
guy.
telling you. This is what I'm telling you, because if it's a chick who's in her 30s with a guy who's in her 40s, most people aren't going to think, if he's a guy who's looking after himself, most people won't think it's because he's rich. They won't. When you approach that age, most
But yeah,
people just think, well,
in the
she's in her
middle
30s.
ranges. It's still like
Yeah,
the hot
because
people
a lot of
together.
people love saying, "Oh, women are the gatekeepers of sex. Women are the gatekeepers of sex. Women are the gatekeepers of sex." Yes, they are, but only up until they hit their mid-20s. The moment they're coming onto their 30s, women are no longer the gatekeepers of sex. I'm sorry. Women are the gatekeepers of sex when it comes up to their mid-20s. After that, the power falls into the man's hands. Because if you're talking about women who are in their 30s and 40s and 50s, the men are going to be the one who decides whether or not you're getting any. Because you've been outmatched by the women who are younger than you. They're the ones who control that field, and you're not playing on their turf. And what you're going to get, sex-wise, is what those women younger than you allow, and what the men decide whether or not you're going to get picked at that age. So when you see these women who are like, I'm young, I'm fun, I want to just, I go out and I get it. Like, oh, I'm going to go slay. Yeah, you can slay up until you're 25. And then the younger girls are going to slay the shit out of you, and you're not going to get any picks. You're going to get you're only going to get it if the guy decides he'd rather be with you than with a younger chick. And sometimes guys do make those decisions because they might be fucking tired of the younger guys, of the younger girls. And those guys who decide that they're tired of the younger girls are usually the guys who are more mature, who can't fucking deal with a young chick. They go, I don't need this fucking madness. I'll take the kind of more settled down girl. And the fact that you realize that you're fighting against these younger women and they've got like the prime pick over you, that kind of being humbled in that way, for most mature guys, that's kind of like, I like that. I like dealing with a chick who knows, who's aware that she's been humbled now. She's getting old. She can't play this fucking game anymore. You can't go out partying every night. Older guys usually like that in a woman. They don't want some chick in her 30s thinking that she can fucking go out partying every Friday night and get whoever the fuck she wants to. So yeah, if you're still in your 30s, and if you're going around thinking that you're the gatekeeper of sex, if you're the one who thinks like guys need to jump through all these hoops to be with you, and that you can still go out every Friday and Saturday night acting like you're permanently single, like you can control the dance floor, wherever the fuck. If you think that after you've hit 30, you're a fucking lunatic.
Yes. I agree. But again, that is
But that's
only for the attractive people of any
no, not really. Not really. Because like I said, you can be like a fucking hot woman. You can be hot as shit. And the reality is that once you're 30, if you're hot as shit once you're 30, you are not going to get a guy who's your number. If you consider yourself a 6 or a 7, you're not going to get a 6 or a 7 guy. The woman who's 5 years younger than you will get the 6 or the 7 guy. And the only way you're going to get a 6 or a 7 guy is if there were no women there who snapped him up, who were 5 years younger than you. So you got lucky. If you're with that guy, you got lucky. And the delusion of these women in their 30s today to think he's the lucky one. No, you're the lucky one. But they'll break up with these guys because they'll think, oh, I can do better. You can't do better. You don't realize how lucky you are.
I think a
There
lot of
weren't
it is
enough young girls in the
personality
club that
too.
night. Well, yeah, that plays a part.
Because there's a lot of girls that think that, like, I'm such hot shit, I can get whoever I want. But then they go out there and they just get used and left because nobody enjoys being around them. And a lot of older
Yeah.
women that get divorced they have like a bad attitude where they've gotten used to humiliating whoever they're with or whatever for so long that that's just their plain mode of operating. But hey, it is what it is. I've actually seen a few guys that were married for many years and then they got divorced. And they thought they were going to just get tons and tons of hot chicks, but people just couldn't deal with their shitty personalities. I mean, it happens both ways. Some people get delusional. They think that they're still 20.
Well, look, nobody's going to blame you for wanting to have a bit of fun, right? Especially if you're single. Like, I've seen plenty of girls. I mean, when I was a student, I was working in nightclubs. So I've seen girls who you think, wow, this is an older crowd, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're out there because maybe they went for a breakup or whatever. But the thing is that the reason why a lot of those girls were kind of sweet and nobody was like wanting to kind of ruin their night was because they did have that vibe of, I'm just trying to have a bit of fun. Like, and they were approachable, they were nice, they weren't kind of like out there acting like, in love with themselves and all this kind of shit. But I think this is why there's such a polarity between the sexes nowadays, because that people have been kind of pitted against themselves. Like, girls and guys are being put at odds with one another, and there's a reason for that. Like, we've spoken about that, the whole kind of idea of, is it engineered depopulation, right? But one of the things
Mm-hmm.
that we know that one of the things that we do see a lot, and I think there is some kind of sense to it, is this idea that when you see like women being told that what's strong is kind of not needing a guy, right? Like, oh, kind of this whole slay queen shit, right? Like, you can go out every night, pick a different dude, have fun with him, use him, throw him away, and then kind of do the same thing again. Why settle down? Like, focus on your career. That's more important. But then at the same time, you let them know that if they do feel down, if they do feel depressed, if they do feel lonely, if they do feel unsatisfied in some way, the only love that they need is from themselves. This idea of self-love, right? Like, learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. No, it's not. Who the fuck told you that? I bet they died alone. Like, when did people think that narcissism is a good life choice? But people do that all the time.
Oh wait, you coming? Yes or oh God. So, what should we bother Stephen with? No.
His see-through legs.
Yes. Okay, please. So, can you tell Daemon about how your legs? Oh, I don't have your headphones. Hold on. How your legs are see-through, and
well, my legs
it's very exotic, right?
Because they're trans.
What?
Parent.
God, stop.
They're transitioning. We don't know what will happen. They can turn red if I go in the sun too much. I can't hear anything that you're saying.
I think something's like happening to my skin where I'm just getting pale.
Oh. Enough injections will get you there.
What the heck? What are you talking about?
Hoax.
Anyways, so yeah, I've been getting really, really pale lately. Ever since Simperius was like that you look like you're dead or something, I started noticing that I'm getting very pale. I think we need to go outside. in the daytime, like for once in a while. Like we need to go outside in the daytime. I need to get some sun.
Yeah, you should get some sun.
Imagine if the greatest conspiracy theory was true. Imagine if the COVID vaccine basically was some kind of like white supremacist fucking plan to turn black people white.
Dude, I didn't take that.
No, but imagine if it was. Imagine the world. Imagine how the world would react if you had a bunch of black people being like, the side effects of
Let's not say stuff like that on the internet. Use
Why?
code. Use code.
Okay, imagine if people thought like, if a bunch of people who got the poke were like, oh shit, like, and you wake up one day and you're white. How fucked up would that be?
It would be hilarious, actually.
You would have so many people upset for different reasons.
Okay.
Read that. That's yours. That's your question.
Steven.
Don't read it like that.
How many times has Kat found other women's panties in her underwear drawer?
Just once in a while, right?
Wait a minute. Is there something you need to tell me about your underwear drawer that you're sharing with someone else that I don't know about?
No.
No, there's been none. Like
none yet. We're still waiting.
Okay, so there is someone that is becoming close to your size.
Don't say that about the kid. So weird.
And there's that.
No, we wear the same sock size and the same underwears. We do. No, wait. She's one size smaller, but you can barely tell. The same patterns.
Okay, well, I don't do the laundry, so I don't have that problem.
Yeah, that's why I say we can never do laundry with her, because we'll get confused. But yes, generally there are no foreign panties in the drawers. Yes.
Other than mine.
Sometimes I think that other people's life is so much easier than mine.
Why? What are you talking about?
Wait, Daemon, how many other women's panties are in your...
Well, no, but this was because of something we spoke about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I was at work one time and I got shit because they found some woman's underwear in their drawer. And I was like, I had nothing to do with it. They were like, oh yeah, it must have been that you're cheating on me. And that's how they got in there. And it wasn't.
Well, okay,
so it wasn't planted.
Okay, Steve.
She couldn't have thrown it in.
She couldn't have planted it. No. That's what she suspected happened. She thought that some woman that I was having an affair with kind of hid them there. But it wasn't.
Okay, Steven.
Wait.
No. Let me ask.
No, I have a theory about some things. But
no. What if you found like a strange boxer? Like, let's say like around the bed. What would you think, and how would you respond?
I would first stick my head in and take a good strong whiff, because everyone has a different smell signature.
See if you can fight them.
Is it my smell? Is it her smell? Or is it some other foreign smell? If it's a foreign smell, then I'd be like, okay, we got something here. So then I would play the long game.
Okay, go on.
And he'll start poisoning you with rat poison slowly, day by day.
No. Wait, we have to find out who he is first. And then we have to torture him. Okay, so...
But you'd kill her first, right?
No. There's no killing. No, why would you do that? No. There's no point in that. It's better to torture than to kill.
Oh, God.
And, I mean, what else is there out there? There isn't anything else out there.
Okay, this is another question for you.
My experience is that all women cheat and all women lie about it. Do you agree?
Wait. I love that he says my experiences. It's like, what women are you meeting?
Yeah. I mean, where
But
are these
then
women?
the other thing is if they all lie about it, it could also mean that maybe they're all just telling the truth, and the problem is with you. It's like,
Right. They're like, he's like pressuring them to give some answer. And they're like, sure, we'll give you the answer that you want. And they're lying about it.
It's fine.
I mean, if they're always lying, then how do you know what the truth is? So, like, what?
Vicky, how do you know a man is lying?
His
yeah,
balls
are you?
No,
Wait,
his
that's the
mouth is
thing.
open.
Is this a situation where he's put like a video camera in the bedroom and he's just seen them fuck all these other dudes?
and then he's jerking off to it.
Nice.
Maybe he's
Hey.
not jerking off to it. Maybe.
Okay, maybe he does other things.
Okay. Can
He's not just like-
we roll it back to an adult conversation?
This is an adult conversation, but it's not childish. Wait a minute.
This is like a 13-year-old
Okay,
conversation.
right.
We're supposed to be classy, Daemon.
Right.
Oh,
Classy, not
God.
sassy.
We're trying to compete with Candace Owens.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to my theory
Oh God.
about. So I think that.
Wait. No. I have a good one.
God,
Daemon was talking earlier about how some chick he was dating
he was dating. That's good.
did something like passive aggressive, like she was like, I forgot, like she was mad, and then he's like, what's going on? She's like, oh, nothing, pretending not to be, and then it's like, oh, whatever, and then she yelled at him later, and he's like, I do not deal with people who play games like that.
Damon. Wait. Damon, was this a correct reenactment of the conversation?
No. It was basically it was what this guy. The problem was that she basically did the thing of like pushing away, and I think part of it was because she wanted to kind of feel more needed
Daddy
or whatever. Yeah, she did actually have daddy issues as well. That was pretty obvious from the start. But yeah, there was one opportunity where she was basically like kind of putting out there that like, the better things will get, like the closer we get, like the more invested she was getting, and she was aware that that would make her hurt more when it ended. And I'm like, you're assuming that it's going to end. Like, why the fuck? I mean,
Right.
we're already at the age where we could be getting married if we wanted to.
Yeah.
But she's just kind of focusing on it's going to hurt more. The more I get invested, the more it's going to hurt when it's over. And then eventually I was just like, okay, then fine, let's just fucking end it. Like, end it now when it's going to be easy for you to deal with. And the worst thing is that she was okay with that. She was like, okay, fine, maybe we should. And I was like, yeah, okay. But then afterwards, I'm the bad guy because I ended it. I'm like, but you said that we should. And it's like, yeah, I wanted you to like kind of fight for it. And I was like, well, that's what I've been doing for like the past year and a half. So
yeah,
I guess everybody has.
That's
Sorry.
not normal. That's not normal. She was like, she's been in so many breakups. She expects every relationship to be a breakup, and she needs therapy on that. It could also go back to her father again, where that relationship ended, and she just like sees that all relationships will end. And if you like think a relationship is going to end, you're going to self-manifest it by doing whatever it is to get that manifestation to happen.
But please, shouldn't you give him advice on dealing with women, because we are crazy and hormonal and go through things?
Wait,
You're not selling
give
it
up
this guy.
every time.
no.
Look, it's that or dudes.
No. Okay, so I think this girl, I have a feeling that Daemon, we know that he really tries hard on a lot of different levels with women in various situations. And I don't see him as someone to be giving up on, someone that he wants to be with. And if you're constantly being bombarded by someone that's saying, oh, it's going to end, then maybe you should like say, okay, fine. This is what you want. Let's do it. But
Thank you, Steve. That's what happened. I was like,
Quitter.
He's not
Yeah.
a quitter. It's like at some point you gotta throw in your cards. Like, okay,
Look,
this is what you want.
listen, nobody is mentally well.
That's not saying anything.
I'm just saying that nobody is mentally well. If you want to deal with someone who doesn't have any mental issues, you're gonna die looking. You need to find someone who has mental
So
issues.
die looking.
Okay, stop it. Incel
Kat,
maker.
that's not true. I'm mentally well. I'm awesome. I'm mentally awesome. I'm on point.
Wait. Let's go back to, she did say everyone has so okay, I'm wearing tinted glasses, right?
That has nothing to do with it. Look, read this question
No,
first.
wait a minute.
Oh my
We
gosh.
view the world through the past trauma that we have experienced through tinted glasses.
He wants an infant that hasn't experienced anything.
I don't think he's into that.
Well,
I think he wants a full-grown woman.
a full-grown infant.
Yeah, I don't want to end
legal
up in jail, Kat.
Yeah,
Legal.
so he's not really and you know, they just don't get back the same way. But look,
Isn't a little bit crazy fun though?
wait, no. I'm about to make a point. You do have to make sacrifices.
Like, tell them the sacrifices you had to make.
I've made all
Kat, this is your reminder that you're a woman, so can you shut the fuck up while the guy's speaking?
Oh my
Thank you.
God.
You have to make sacrifices because there's no one that's perfect. But if there's someone that keeps like pulling away, like at some point you there's only so many sacrifices you can do. And
Yeah.
At that point, I think
That's what I tell you every
made the
time
correct-
you don't put out after 3 days. I have this exact conversation with you.
Imagine if you've got, look at it this way, Kat. This is a bit more extreme, but think about it this way. Imagine that you're in a
Say that
relationship
louder?
with
I'm
somebody.
kidding.
Go on.
Imagine if you're in a relationship with somebody who is suicidal, right?
Well, you pick your
And
crazy.
And every week they make an attempt,
Okay,
and
well,
you have
that's
to talk them
different.
back off the ledge. No. Imagine
No,
you have to.
she's-
Would you be
yeah.
in a relationship with somebody who you have to talk back from the ledge every weekend?
No.
Exactly. At some
But-
point, you
What if
just
they
let
were
them fly.
violent, but just when it's fun?
What? What if they're what?
We're a little violent, but it was like in a fun way.
What?
No, but this
No.
is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, Kat. Like it's the same situation because you're constantly having to calm them down from doing something that is going to end the relationship, right? And if you're constantly having to calm somebody down and dial them back from doing what it seems like they want to do, whether or not that's give up on a relationship or give up on life, you're gonna feel the pressure of like, I'm the only one holding this shit together. And eventually it's just going to be like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like,
Well-
what's the point? Either they're manipulating you because they want you to be their kind of pick me up person, and they like the way it feels. Like, you know, those people who constantly act like they're sick just because they like you taking care of them.
Yeah.
Like, if they're manipulating you to get the good shit out of the relationship while they're not really contributing anything themselves, it's not healthy. It's just not healthy. And at some point, you've got to duck out of that.
Well, on top of that, like, okay, if they are considering ending their life, you
Let
then
them.
feel like you can't do that because then it's on your conscience.
Then you run
So
away.
you gotta like ease them out, like make it their.
Oh, I got it. Make them hate you and then leave on their own so you're
Yes.
guilt-free.
No,
Yeah.
they don't commit. They don't.
No.
end it. They
I
don't
heard
end
you
anything.
loud and clear. Make them think they're crazy and
Yes.
leave you. Okay.
I mean, that's the help. I mean, if they're considering ending things, then they're not going to end things.
That's how like boys end relationships. They're just
Let
like,
Steve
you're
talk,
like,
woman.
like, so if they're considering ending the relationship or themselves from life, you get them to think that, oh, it's their idea, and
And make sure that everything is signed over to you in the will
Oh God.
first.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, read the question.
All right. If Kat suddenly stopped allowing you to have access to her phone and would hide it from you when she was on it, would you consider that a concerning behavior, and how would you handle it?
Go on.
Yes, it would be concerning.
And how would you handle it?
I would
You'd get
confront
out
her.
the whipping stick.
Well, I mean, that's between my legs, but
Top.
Nice.
I would confront her on it. So you have to.
How do you confront someone?
You bluntly ask.
What would you say?
What the hell's going on? You're not showing me your phone. Is there something that you need to tell me?
What do you think, Daemon? Is this like a good thing that you would do, or would you like do some sinister stuff?
No, there's no. Is there a good thing? You need to be on one page.
But would you? Because I want to hear what Daemon has to say.
Okay, sorry.
Is he gonna put something on the phone?
No.
Videotape cameras.
Damon,
places.
what would you do?
Yeah.
There we go.
I think that he should. I think he should. What? Why are you laughing? I haven't even said anything yet.
Not you. This one.
I think that he should fuck your best friend that you're jealous of first, and then no. It's fucking sirens.
It was like a funny meme that she was embarrassed of. That's great. You guys suck.
Well, yeah, if she's being shady like that, then that's obvious. That's obviously shady behavior. Yeah. I would give her the opportunity to explain herself first.
Yes.
But you've got to do your homework. You can't just at that
He's like,
sorry.
Hold on, let me get my bulletproof vest.
What?
Nothing, go on.
Nothing going.
No, what? Nothing. Go on. Tell me what.
Because the sirens are coming. You're like, oh shit, I get something.
I know. Yeah, I'm at the stage where I'm getting paranoid now. Usually, I don't mind when I hear the sirens, but it's kind of a bit too much.
It's all those.
What is everywhere in England like this? Is or wherever?
Hey, Kat, diversity is our strength.
Diversity of knives is our strength.
Yeah, we've got a great diversity, like a whole variety of cultures that want to wipe us out.
Yeah.
So I think that like you've got every right at that point to start doing your homework, and she can't say, "Oh, you don't trust me," because you forfeited the trust at that point, or at least you forfeited some measure of trust at that point. So if Steve wanted to kind of go behind your back and start kind of looking through your shit, in my opinion, he's got every right to at that point.
Do you know that it's illegal here to look through your partner, even your spouse's phone or email? And it's,
well, of course, because
admissible?
America's become so fucking lost that they encourage people to do shitty stuff.
And you know why? Because of the whole like Epstein crap. Because a lot of the wives were like finding stuff on the like computers or the husbands or whatever, and they were like using it against them, like to make a case against them. And enough did that they made it a crime.
When you look at laws, you have to ask yourself, like, who the fuck is this law protecting, and what purpose does this law serve? And when you see, like, the one that shocked me was when I found out that, like, it's no longer a crime. Oh, no, wait. No, yeah. You don't have to disclose whether or not you've got HIV or AIDS to your sexual partner. It's like, why the fuck would you change that law? Like, what sick fuck would change that law, and what's the logic behind it?
The pharmaceutical companies, they lobbied for that. How much you want to bet?
So when you've got laws on paper that are either being created or that are being abolished that are only going to serve something really, really, really malevolent or very, very dangerous, then you've got to ask yourself, who the fuck is making these laws, and why haven't we put their head on a spike yet?
Money.
Learned helplessness.
No, money.
But why haven't we done anything?
Oh, why have we not done anything?
Yeah.
Money.
Learned helplessness.
No, you just take enough shit. If you take enough shit again and again and again, you're the abused person. This is one of the reasons why they want everybody to believe that they're traumatized and that they're victims. Because if you believe you're traumatized and you're a victim, the last thing you're going to think that you can ever do is fight back. So a lot of these people are thinking, oh, I don't really believe that, but I'm just capitalizing of it. If they want to give me special treatment, if they want to give me free money, if they want to give me some kind of favor or some kind of social hierarchy power, then I'll take it. If all I've got to do is say that I'm a victim and pretend to be traumatized. But by acting that way, subconsciously, you're conditioning yourself to accept this shit more and more and more. So this is part of the reason why they're doing that. This is why they want to create a society that's so fucking weak, even if it acts weak, because by acting weak, you're going to be weak. When it comes down to it, and they say to you, this is what we're going to do, like, you know that, they know that you're going to just accept shit without ever questioning it or standing up to it. This is why you have, for example, like, you know, African Americans voting Democrat thinking that they're going to get their reparations, even though they were promised it 60 fucking years ago. It's like, well, you still haven't got it, but you're still going to vote for them, right? Of course you are. Same as how you're going to be in a relationship with a person who comes home like, you know, you're suspecting, where have you been up until now? Where have you been? And you think they're cheating on you, but you're not going to say anything. You're just going to accept it because that's what you've been conditioned to do. So, yeah, like, if that's how you act, if that's what you kind of keep telling yourself, you're going to just accept it without question. Even when they change the laws and say you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to accept this, you have to accept that. If they've got AIDS, they don't need to tell you, you know, like, you're on a register. Somebody touched a kid or did something, they're on a register only for a certain amount of time. Why only for a certain amount of time? Why would you say to some kind of person who does fucked up shit to kids, oh, you're going to be on a register for a certain amount of time, now we're going to take you off the register and it's okay? We're going to see if you can be trusted to kind of do shit with kids up until a certain point and then control yourself. Why? They've proven themselves to be untrustworthy. They've proven themselves to be a danger to children. Why would you expose? Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay, so one thing I found out about that whole the registering offender whatever list is that you can be put on that for very benign things, which makes it less impactful, right? It doesn't hold as much weight because if you go streaking and you're like, you get, you know, hazing, whatever, in your college and they make you streak or whatever, that is that's an offense that you could be on the list. If a man pees in public and is caught, that is an offense that can be on the list. That peeing in public, streaking, you know, whatever, like when you're drunk on a college campus, is the same thing as if you touch a child.
Yeah, so here's the solution to that, Kat. Here's the solution. So I get it. If somebody was put on the list for that, they shouldn't be on it for life. They should be taken off. My solution.
No, I'm saying they shouldn't put someone on the list for something that has nothing to do with that.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, don't put people on the list for shit that's got nothing to do with CA, right? Only go on that list if it's a list for like, you know, kids are at risk. Yeah. Don't put them on the list for that shit. Put them on the list for if they've done stuff to kids, and then leave them on that list for life. But don't be like, oh, we need to only have a list for a certain amount of time because other people might not have done something that offensive. So we need to give them an opportunity to get off the list. No, the solution is you don't put them on the list in the first place.
It has to be so that it pressures them to make it less of a crime for those that do CA. That's the only logic.
Well, no, they want to forgive. They want to forgive, or they want to like be cool with CA, because here's the thing: those people who are like, oh, you exposed yourself because you decided to pee in public, so we're going to put you on this list. Those are the same people that are totally fine with a grown man going into a woman's toilet and exposing themselves to kids,
right?
Because oh yeah, like the LGBTQ, we got to kind of be concerned about them, more concerned about them than children,
because they're doing the same thing. It's just that there's now a different label on them.
Well, yeah.
Okay, let's move a little bit away from this and try to go back, because we got to end a little early tonight. So let's. Okay, so this is my other thought on the whole femcel incel thing, is that a lot of the manosphere red pill things that they say, like, if she's not, if she doesn't sleep with you on the first date, she's banging 20 other dudes. If she doesn't do that, all these advices, they were generally geared towards
All
men.
these advices.
Shut up, whore.
All these advices. There's so many of these advices.
But anyways, with all of these things, they were all geared towards guys who were cheated on, angry, divorced, whatever. Those type of guys, that's who was meant to have that type of content. And then the problem was when the socially awkward, maybe a little autistic people started watching the content. And then when they would be perfectly happy with like a femcel who could also be a little bit on the spectrum too, right? Because that's probably why they're in that situation too. So they would probably be fine with a femcel and they'd have a great, wonderful life together. But because they watch this content that's geared towards people who are maybe not so on the far ends of the spectrum, who are just cheated on or used or whatever once in a while, but otherwise we're able to date just fine, like that wouldn't apply to someone who's socially awkward on the spectrum. You know what I mean? And when they use that advice, it goes against their own interests. And then you have the female counterparts who have no one to date because the male counterparts are basically dehumanizing women and telling them that women are just, they're all skanks and cheating and dating multiple people, and they're all just using you for dinner and stuff like that. Whereas the socially awkward girls, they don't do that stuff because they don't have that in them. They're just not like that. That's my thing. That's what I think I see going on. Because when I was looking at one of like the what's it called, incel manifestos, he showed all the signs of clear autism, very extreme autism, like sort of twitching mannerisms, very quiet, wouldn't speak if spoken to, all of these signs of autism, right? And then when you see the females writing, they have the same thing, but the female version. So I'm like, these two types of people would actually be quite perfect together, because the women don't like to screw around and the men want someone who just wants to screw with them. So I think they should.
But you've also got those types of women nowadays, mostly progressive liberals, that are self-diagnosing themselves as being autistic. Like it's a cool thing. It's like, number one, it's not a cool thing. Number two, you're not autistic. But it's like they want to do that. And again, it's another way of kind of excusing a shitty behavior. There has to be an excuse to everything.
Which behavior?
And any kind of odd behavior, or if you're, or not necessarily even behavior, but traits that are not necessarily attractive, or generally being a loser or a failure in life in some way.
But you do understand there's a lot of people on the spectrum now. I'm not going to say what's injuring them.
Listen to what you just said. Listen to what you just said.
Go on.
There's a lot of people on the spectrum now. Yes, there never were before, right?
Yes, but we have never had certain things that we have to do to like go to school or what have you that are mandatory. And then when you introduce that into the population, certain traits now are seen, whereas 50 years ago and before they were not seen. But
so I think that you can't assume that. I think it's that there's certain dots that are a lot harder to connect. Like, for example, to say that the reason why there's so many people on the spectrum is because of XYZ factors, right? When there are other factors that are a lot more that make a lot more sense, that are a lot simpler if you want to consider Occam's razor, right? So, for example, if you see that loads of kids are failing in school, and you say 15 to 20 years ago, kids were a lot more successful, They were striving for success. They were reaching their goals. They were reaching almost their full potential. And you had a lot more kids qualifying and a lot more kids who are far better behaved, right? And then you say, what changed? And you try and say that it's because of the diet. It's because people aren't as healthy as they used to be. We've got more chemicals in foods now. We've got all of this. And there's loads of these factors that you want to put on that. And then you want to say we've got a better understanding of of mental health care, and we were able to diagnose these people. So actually, these people are all, they're all somehow on the spectrum, right? But then you say, well, okay, could it not be these two simple things? Number one, we don't have corporal punishment in schools anymore. Kids are allowed to get away with murder, right? There's no discipline. There's no discipline in the household. There's no discipline in the schools. Kids are not afraid of authority anymore, because you've taken authority away from the people who should be in charge. And you've given the kids all of the power, because all they need to do is make one accusation against the teacher, and a teacher's life is done, right? So that's one factor. And what's the other factor? You've begun celebrating mediocrity. Okay, every loser gets a trophy, every kid gets a medal just for participating, and you celebrate those kids first, because you can't have the person who wins first place get celebrated first, because that's going to offend the losers, right? It's going to hurt their feelings. So the winner needs to be humble, but the losers get to celebrate, and they get a month for themselves, and every fucking weirdo is put at the top of the social hierarchy. So once you've done that, celebrating mediocrity and taking away authority from those in power, you've got the perfect storm for every kid being the biggest fucking failure that they could possibly ever hope to be. But now you're trying to say, oh, it's not that, it's that they're on the spectrum. And this is why you have things like ADHD. This is why you have the autistic spectrum expanded to include fucking everybody. Okay? Why? Because there's no money in people in mental health care. There's no money and there's no incentive for them. Or actually, they're not even allowed to if they wanted to. No therapist can tell you that you're a fucking loser. No teacher can tell you that your kid is a fucking retard. So what they have to do is, this is why they think up all of these imaginary mental issues. So you have therapists creating more and more and more issues to say, well, you've got this disorder, you've got this disorder, you've got that disorder, you've got this disorder, you're on this spectrum, you're on that, because they can't tell you that you're a fucking loser and you need to get your life in order.
There's also there is money in it. There's the pharmaceutical industry that is giving.
Oh, no, but what I meant is there's no money in them being honest with you. There's no money in them being honest with you and telling you.
Oh yeah, no,
just
no.
Why would
loser.
they be honest with
for
you?
For sure, there's no money in being honest with you. No.
In fact, if you're a
Absolutely
therapist, you want someone who's not mentally ill to keep coming back and back and back. That's how you're going to make your money without being yourself in danger.
When I told you,
don't
I think
say
it was
certain things and something happens, you can get sued and lose your license.
Yeah.
So they have no choice but
exactly.
Well, when we were talking last week, I think it was, when we were talking about the Eastern strategy of healthcare, where you only pay somebody when you're healthy, and when you're unhealthy, you don't. This is one of the things that I was always thinking about with regards to mental health, because having a therapist is the worst relationship ever. You're paying somebody money to come and see them to talk to you about what's fucked up with you. So where's the incentive in them treating you and making you better? If you just said, look, I'm going to pay you if I'm fixed, but now I'm going to be coming to you 1 hour a week and I'm not paying you shit. But when I'm better, I'll be paying you every single week. Do you think there's going to be any changes in outcomes if somebody made that change? If the government came in and said, hey, all of you therapists, everyone's going to pay you. Like, you're going to get paid a weekly salary for not having to do anything. But you're going to start losing that money if people are unwell. And then you're going to have to be kind of making sure that you get those people better. If they realize that they're going to get paid for curing you rather than treating you, if you believe that there's not going to be any kind of change in outcome, then you're fucking mad. And if you do realize, actually, I think that will change things, then why aren't we pushing people in government to change that? Why aren't we saying to those people in power? Because there's a lot of pressure on people right now to kind of address mental health care. So why don't you say, look, okay, healthcare in general, it should be free if you need it, and we only pay for it when we don't need it. And let's see if that changes things.
What do you think?
I think there are a lot of lazy clinicians out there that will end up making that plan not happen.
Oh yeah, of course. And
So-
and that those are the people that you get rid of. Those are the first heads to roll.
But the thing is, the majority of the physicians out there, and I don't know if you can speak to this, Daemon, but the ones that I've encountered, they're all lazy. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean any offense if you have an MD or DO or ND, any of your letters that you want to have. I don't mean
Mental
to offend
health or
people
doctors?
that any physician.
Oh, I do. I don't want to.
But
If you
know
take offense to them,
the ones that I have come in contact with, whether through a patient or whatever, they don't do what they should be doing for the patient. They're doing the bare minimum. I give patients, blood work. They go to their other physician, and then the other physician like pushes it aside. I only want mine. There's clearly something wrong. They don't look at it. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Or, oh, I only work in this portion of the field. I don't know anything about cardiology. I don't know anything about gastroenterology. I am ranting here, but it's an irritation. Like, they have the ability and the training to deal with other specialties, but they don't do it because they're lazy.
You almost cursed.
Yes.
no, it's true. It's true. And I've got no sympathy for those people. I'm not afraid about offending them. I think that they should be offended. They don't hear it enough. The hierarchy in healthcare is insane. Many of these people get away with it, and they get worse and worse and worse, and they get more and more incompetent because everyone's afraid of challenging them. They're like, oh, you can't say that to them. Why? They're shit at their job. So why can't I say it to them? So
Did you?
what?
Sorry. Did you hear about there was some doctors or whatever who were like training people in the hospital. What are they called when they have to interns? Is that what it's called? When you do your clinicals, I don't know what it's called.
Either juniors or interns, or yeah,
something like that.
There's
right. There's a word for it. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so you do that before you officially go off on your own. Anyway, so they're in the hospital and they're finding out these people don't know basic. They don't know where certain bones are, where certain arteries are. They don't know where like basic fundamental stuff with medicine are.
No.
Yes, this is true. This is happening in like the last 5 years.
Basic
Exactly. They haven't memorized anything. Maybe they used all AI for all their tests. Who knows? These kids know nothing. They cannot point.
Well, two things. Two things. Did you hear about that phone call with those people who were being given answers to their exams to be a what's it called? To work in air traffic control.
No.
Did you hear about that?
No, but I believe it. I think there's.
So it was a guy. It was a guy who's working with BLM. And who was kind of talking about, I think he was working in HR, I'm not sure. But he mentioned Black History Month, and he was like saying how they're doing this for Black History Month, right? And that was only part of it. But in the phone call, it was very, very, very specific how he was saying that they're going to be sharing these answers to these tests that these people have to do, and it's for air traffic control. It's part of the selection process for air traffic control, and they found out that 90% of people were failing it. And he was saying like, so I'm gonna get home and I'm gonna take screenshots off of this and I'm gonna send it to you guys in an email, and it's also that we can get more of our brothers and sisters. We're looking for, and he said, I think he was looking for African American men and women of any ethnic minority group. But he was saying like how they want to get these people into these positions. And he says, so please don't share it with anyone that doesn't fall into those categories. Like, and this was kind of exposed now because of the issue that's been going on with near misses in air transport. So like all the accidents that have been going on recently, they were saying like, look, there is a drive to get like more DEI into this job, and here's some proof of it, and that's now kind of getting investigated. But it's the same thing in healthcare. And I've seen it for real. I've seen it 100%. I know I've seen a guy who's been involved in 3 different issues. I think 2 where the patient died and 1 where the patient ended up in a coma. I'm not sure about the 3rd one, but this is a guy who allegedly has got experience working in intensive care. And I think it's something like 15 or so years experience, or at least that's what was said. But somebody told me that when they saw his CV, that it was only working in like a care home, I think, or something like that, hospice care.
No.
And
It's not
this
the
guy,
same thing.
well, yeah, exactly, not even close to the same thing.
Yeah.
And a colleague of mine confronted this gentleman and found out that Steve will know this, but like a certain monitoring device for capnography, he didn't even know what it measured. And he was confronted. Yeah, he didn't even know what it measured. He said, look at the trace there. Do you know what this means? And there was shark toothing on the trace. So the patient isn't breathing properly. And the guy was saying the patient is breathing. Look here. And he looked at the pulse oximetry and saw that it was 99%. He said, it's fine. He says, look, but it's not fine because the trace isn't good.
Wait. Okay. So I do have a story that
Oh no.
can shed some light on this. I think there are people that truly are tunnel visioned and they don't pay attention to anything else, and it's like they forget their entire training.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there's
but this
someone.
guy was.
No, but wait. The story will help to illustrate this more concretely, and it's my personal experience. I took someone to the hospital because I didn't, or rather had them go in the ambulance, whatever, and I met them there. And I, because I didn't think I could get him there fast enough before he would die. All my red flags said he's going to die if I don't get the ambulance. Anyway, got to the hospital, got to the ER room, went in the, I was there in the room, and I was like, okay, this is not normal. He's, not paying attention to pain. I tried, all the different stimuli. He was not able to pay attention to any fingers, any of that. And there's clinicians working on him, a pneumologist working on him. There's several different clinicians, nurses, whatever, working on him. And I said, excuse me, do you think this is normal? And he said, no. And they keep, doing different things. And then I go to the ER doctor and I said, do you think this is normal? And then, because I had to pull her in, and she said she did all the tests that I did. She said, no, this is not normal. Sent him off to the stroke unit. Turns out his CO2 was through the roof, and that was why he was delusional, not paying attention to pain, not paying attention to.
So you're trying to say like things. They just don't do their job.
They weren't doing their job because I know they were trained in it, but they were completely ignoring it, doing all the protocol. This is the protocol. This is the protocol. We can't do anything outside of it.
Yeah.
And I think there are some people that like they do the protocol so much that they don't even pay attention to anything outside of the box that could be happening.
Yeah.
And he would have died had I not talked to the ER doctor and told her, you need to send him off to something else. But, I'm not.
Well, I wanted to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. But it was a colleague of mine who was less patient than I was, who basically put this guy on the spot and said, listen, and he broke it down very simply for the guy. This was after the patient was gone. And he said to this guy, and we both at this point knew that this guy was involved in 3 kind of never events over the course of a couple of years. And we were like, why does this shit happen only to this guy? Right. And
what is a never event?
something that should basically never happen. There's
Oh,
rules in
okay.
place, there's policies in place to prevent something like that from happening.
Mhm.
But there was a lot of clues about this guy having just generally very bad practice, and we at some point, like, I guess my friend and I both got kind of fed up with him, because I got fed up with him because I noticed that he was kind of trying to pick and choose the cases that he was working on and doing. Like, he wanted to avoid more complex scenarios, he wanted to avoid more complex cases, and it was kind of very, very, very disturbing how this guy was just kind of becoming, kind of trying to pick himself like an easy life, basically. And eventually, like, after this one time where somebody nearly died, when the patient was gone, my colleague, who's an anesthetist, basically confronted this guy and said, "Look, do you know what this is?" And it was a very basic question, like a first year nurse would know, like a first year student nurse, I should say. And it was like saying, "Do you know what this should look like? Do you know what this means?" And he asked him so kind of, it was such a basic thing that the guy, when he got upset, I was thinking, look, I understand why you're upset. And I even said to him, I said, look, I know you think he's being condescending here, but we're genuinely concerned that you don't know this. So you can be as offended as you want, but do you understand what this here means? And we pressed him for nearly 5 minutes, and he wouldn't even give us an answer. I said, no, like, just like, humor us. At least show us that you know. And then my colleague became so pissed off with him that he was like, he's trying to act offended. He actually said this openly. He's trying to act offended, like we're being condescending. But it's because he doesn't know. He doesn't fucking know. And he said it in front of the guy and said, this guy doesn't know. And I'm sorry, but this guy was 100% a diversity hire. And unfortunately, the way our country works, we had a legal agreement with his country that we have to recognize his training, even though there's a massive discrepancy in how their people are trained and how our people are trained.
Wait, you said diversity hire. Was he white?
No.
Well, I mean, seriously, how many?
We're not that bad in the UK yet.
Okay.
Isn't it like
some
the minority
cities, in some
already?
cities. Sorry?
So,
Isn't it the
In
minority
London,
already?
yeah. In London, the
that's why-
diversity
So, like-
hires are the white people.
I mean, I think Trump is getting rid of that here, right? There's, at least with the
only
he can,
federal.
yeah, he can only do it with federal employees. So, like, you have to be able to, what's it
You
called?
have to
Like,
be able to show that you can do the work.
yeah, and show, and what
That's
Elon was saying, also, like, prove that you're doing something useful.
Well, there you
But-
go. This is why these people are upset with Elon. Who was it? I think it was Kat Timpf who said like, getting upset with Elon exposing all of this fucking shit is basically like when a chick confronts her boyfriend and shows the texts that, like, he's been cheating on her, and then he's like, you went through my phone, like, and pretending to be upset that they looked through your phone. It's like, well, yeah, you found evidence, right? That shit's not good, and you're trying to act offended because of the way I found the evidence. They're like, he's not elected, dude. Let's not forget,
yeah.
Democrats under Barack Obama, the ones that created the USDS. Doge is basically just the USDS, but it's just that they're doing their work now. That's the only thing that changes, that they're actually doing their job, right? They've got no power beyond that. They're trying to say he's not elected. He doesn't have any fucking power. All does Doge do is make recommendations. It's down to everyone else if those people are going to get fired or not. They just make the recommendations. They say, look, here's the evidence. This is what we found. And did you see that the other thing now that they love getting pissed off with? Oh, he's lying. They didn't really find evidence of that. They said that they found 3 trillion in waste when it was only 3 billion. And they said that they found like 150 billion here, when it turns out that they got the number wrong and it was only 150 million, not billion. It's like, hello, it's still 3 fucking billion. It's still 150 million. So we're supposed to be like, oh, it's okay. It's only millions that you lost. I thought that you lost billions. Sorry, that's fine. Carry on wasting millions. It doesn't matter. Like, these people are so beyond fucking stupid that it's hilarious. I would love to have a boss like that. You can't be upset with me. I didn't lose 3 billion. I only lost 3 million.
Jeez.
And if
It's
there's
like
a
they're
pile
still
of $3
fucked up
million
shit.
on the floor, would you pick it up or would you just leave it there? I think I might pick it up.
All right. So, anyways, we should wrap up the incel part. Anything else that you wanted to say about that part before we go, Daemon?
About what part?
Exactly. Okay, moving on.
Oh my God. Okay. So you don't agree with what I thought about like how the red pill stuff that work for divorced and cheated on guys who can otherwise get women does not work for the more autistic virgin incel types.
I think that the problem is that we're living in a world where we're supposed to make everybody think you can achieve whatever the fuck that you want. And unfortunately, if you're autistic, life's going to be harder for you. If you're a 3, even with a banging body, life is going to be harder for you. You know, like not everybody gets the happy ending. I'm sorry. Like, there's certain people who are lucky. If, you know, people want to believe that life is fair. And the only way life is fair is that it's equally unfair for everyone, one way or another, right?
Wait.
So, sorry?
I wanted to add something that might color whatever it is you're going to finish with.
Oh, no.
All over our face.
Well,
So I think we've talked about this before. Keep in your lane and date those people that you are attractively, you know, your attractive level, like 2s with 2s, 3s with 3s, you know, whatever.
Wait,
And
you think you're on my level? I'm kidding. Go on.
You could go
It's
slightly above
okay.
or slightly below. It doesn't have to be. If you're a 3, you shouldn't be with a 10. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
We all know Steve could do better.
Monetarily, things change that. Okay, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about millionaires, billionaires. No, we're not talking about that.
Regular peeps.
What we've been trained to do is to think that everyone can go for a 10, no matter whether you're a 1 or 2, 3, 4, or 5, you can still get a 10. And that's what they think that they deserve. In fact, they don't deserve it. They shouldn't, and they should just stick in their lane unless they have something else to offer other than their banging body.
Well, yeah, like Kat and I spoke about this earlier, and I do still think that's one of the biggest things. I think that the most unfortunate thing for women out there is many of them have never been prepared, and they're aware of it, like because of social media, they're aware or they're made aware that they're the gatekeepers of sex, right? So like it's down to them. A woman can go into a club and pick whoever the fuck she wants to fuck, and that's it. And they're made to believe this, and this idea is constantly reinforced that like even if you're mid as fuck, like you still have the power to like offer that sex, and a guy's going to just accept it because he's a guy, right? So he'll be like, well, like even if you're mid, yeah, if all a woman wants is sex, she can have it pretty much on tap. But the two things that women are lied to about, or maybe not fully informed on, is that ability that you have, that being the gatekeeper of sex, it's literally only for sex. It's not for relationships. So you can have the sex, sure, but you're not going to get the commitment. You're not going to get the loyalty. You're not going to get the love. You're not going to get the emotional support. You can go into a club and you can be like, I want to bang who wants to bang, and guys, any guys, even guys who are out of your league, will still accept your proposal, but it's only for sex. And the second thing that they're not prepared for, which is why life hits them so fucking hard and they get so depressed when they find out, is you only have that ability, that power to be the gatekeeper of sex. You only have it for a very limited time. By the time you hit 25, other girls are going to push you out of that position. 25, and then you tap out on that. I'm sorry, you're not going to be the gatekeeper of sex anymore. At that point, you're waiting for guys to accept your proposal or be the ones to propose you.
Daemon, have you ever gotten yourself into situations where you're with someone, you know, sexually, that you wouldn't normally want to be, you know them biblically, that you wouldn't normally want to date this type of person, but she somehow got you to do that?
Were you ever tricked?
I mean, that's happened to me multiple times.
Wow, Stephen.
So I can't remember if I told you this story, but one time, and it took me a while to realize this, right? I was kind of thinking to myself one time when somebody asked me about this story, and I had to kind of pause and be like, was I graped? I think I was. And I do, like, according to modern standards, the liberal definition of it, I realize now that I was graped. Okay. I'm not a bitch, so I'm okay with it and I can deal with it and I've accepted it. But had I had all of my mental faculties in order, there is no way there's no way that I would have gone home with this chick. The only saving grace was that it wasn't the chick who I thought it was that I ended up in bed with, but it was her roommate. And her roommate was a lot better. Like, her roommate had a body, because the chick that I ended up going home with was actually a fat chick. So I came very close to sleeping with a fat chick, which is my absolute kind of, like, you know, one of my top 3 fears. But luckily,
3 fears.
It is. I'm sorry.
They're gonna eat all night.
It's just.
There's
we're not going to go there. But yeah, it was close. I've got those stories. It happened to me. You know, hashtag me too. But I've moved on from it, and I've coped with it. And her roommate was actually not my type, but it's not as traumatic as it could have been.
She was a constellation prize.
It was, you know, actually, I was incredibly relieved when I realized who it was. I was like, oh wow, you know, but that's only because I thought that it might have been the fat chick. When I realized it wasn't the fat chick.
Wait, whoa. Let's review back.
So he wasn't, or he was? This is confusing.
No. I think he was having sex with someone. He didn't.
Don't say
he was having intercourse with someone that he didn't know who he was having intercourse with. Was there no lights on? Were you?
Oh no! So what happened was Okay, so it was my birthday, and I was celebrating with guys at work in my side job when I was working in a nightclub.
Already a red flag.
So
celebrating with dudes? Come on.
No. When I say I was celebrating with the guys I work with, I mean the dudes and the girls.
Mm-hmm.
But we were at the nightclub, and it was my night off, and it was a Saturday night. So we were just partying with everybody, and there was like there were 3 girls there that I knew quite well in a kind of like stuff might happen kind of way. But there was other people that I worked with also, and you know, one of them in particular I really liked, but there was one chick who was kind of into me, and this was the fat chick, and I was not interested, and I made it clear several times that I was not interested. Like, you know, no matter how hard up I get, no matter how drunk I get, it isn't going to happen. Wow, I was wrong, because apparently I can get a lot more drunk than I thought I could. And that birthday was about to test it. And I did get very, very, very drunk. My friends were not looking out for me. And I ended up going home with this rotund girl. And
I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm going to use it again in conversations.
So So basically, she was sweet. She was our friend. She worked with us, and we knew what her place looked like because a few of us from work, after work, we would go back to her place and we'd sometimes have drinks because she lived nearby and she had a big garden and it was really nice there. And she also had a roommate, but the roommate didn't work with us. So I remember this night up until about probably 8 p.m. And after 8 p.m., I was done. And I know that we were at this place up until about 4 in the morning.
When you say done, you have a blackout period?
I blacked out. And I
Okay.
have like intermittent memories of things throughout the night. So I remember having to go to the toilet and I broke the door on the stall. This was why we're still in the nightclub, because I didn't realize, like an idiot, I didn't realize you have to pull it, and I was trying to push it. So I broke the door because I felt like I was somehow like locked in there. Then I remember much later somebody getting us Irish car bombs, and I was trying to do like a whole line of them. And I remember drinking like 3 before again blacking out. And
Jeez.
then I remember walking through a part of London which I've never seen before. But then I only remember a little bit of the walk, and that was it. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up and I'm in bed, and I recognize the bedroom just from like being at the girl's house before, because like we knew what
Oh,
her place looked like. And I recognized the bedroom, and I could see through the window. I knew where I was, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's that girl's place." And I was in bed, and I'm lying next to a chick who's got her back to me, and it's a really big bed, right?
oh, I was gonna
Um,
say really big back.
Really big
oh,
chick.
it's a really big bed, and like all of the blanket, like the blankets are all covering her, right? Um,
Her
so I can't
enormous.
see her. She's got her
Right.
back to me, and she's like covered up with blankets, and it's like it's like a big duvet, right? So like I wasn't even, and I was so drunk and I was hungover that I wasn't thinking that clearly. I wasn't like trying to look and analyze everything. So the first thing I do is I go and I feel, and I'm feeling my dicks out. So I know stuff happened, right? I'm like, oh shit, like, and I was genuinely like, really, like, what the fuck did I do, right? I mean, I knew what the fuck I did, but I was like, oh fuck, right?
So you
And I don't remember.
automatically blamed yourself.
Yeah, I was victim blaming.
Yes. Okay.
Um, yeah, and back then I wasn't aware of like the whole, back then grape meant something else, but so I wasn't thinking I was graped or anything. I was thinking like, oh shit, like I made stupid decisions. Maybe I need to have accountability. Maybe I need to not drink so much in the future. What was I wearing? Maybe I was kind of giving off wrong signals and I was asking for it. No, 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 no. Like now I realize that asking such questions is fucking stupid and I should have just phoned the police. But yeah, no. I was like, what the fuck? And then later on, she kind of turned over and I realized it's not the chick who I thought it was. It was a chick who was actually, she did have a good body and everything, but I was drunk. She took advantage of me. Because if I
I
was,
but wait, can we pause here? I
yeah,
think it's more important that you were glad that it was a chick and not a dude
no, I'm glad it was a skinny chick and not a fat chick.
Oh god.
or dude.
Well, yeah, you know what? I was going to say I would never be that drunk, but apparently
know.
I could be so drunk that I wouldn't know what the fuck I was doing. But
Right, because
yeah.
it could be someone that looks like a chick but isn't a chick.
Oh yeah, no. This was definitely a chick. Because okay, look, in a way, I guess that I can't claim grape because we ended up doing it again in the morning. But
Oh, okay. Well,
so
no,
You can't complain after you
Sorry.
do it again.
You're like, oh,
yeah, but the
damn,
thing
I
is,
don't
Kat,
remember
the
any of
thing
this.
is,
Let's
Kat,
do it again.
I didn't consent to it the night before.
Oh, so you were trying to get your power back.
No. No, I just wanted to do something in the morning.
Well, have you heard of any chick tell you, like, if I'm in a coma and
What are you-
doing this to me could take me out of a coma? I require that you do this, and it is not great.
How can she require it if she's in a coma?
Exactly. So my opinion is, I would
Steve,
say,
I mean, Daemon, mind your
Is this
business.
like Sleeping Beauty kind of thing?
exactly. Actually, the original story of Sleeping Beauty is
No,
great.
we're not talking about that. Anyway.
Cat, shush. Carry on, Steve.
So, like, someone told me that I needed to perform my duties
Mhm,
to be sure
mhm.
that she's taken care of. No matter whether she's in a coma or out of it or in a wheelchair and can't move or talk, doesn't matter. It has to happen.
So she basically gave you a free grape pass.
Yeah, but it's verbal.
It's
and
consensual.
And
Stop.
then what if she changes her mind in the middle? She's like,
Yeah, I think you need it. You need it in writing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
even
draw
in
up
writing,
the paper.
I still don't think writing is enough.
It's enough.
Hang on a
I need
second.
to
Can I ask you something, Steve? And Kat, do not interrupt. Don't say anything here,
on.
Kat. Don't say
can't
anything,
possibly
Kat.
do that.
So,
do the same thing,
Steve, first of all, do you happen to know any blind people?
A few, yes.
What?
Okay,
been a
so when you
while.
communicate with them, do you have to use sign language to communicate with them?
Blind people? No, I don't use sign language for blind people.
Okay, I'm glad there's somebody with a brain in this relationship.
I mean, there's a tapping, maybe, but
Wait, how do you communicate?
not with sign language. It's called talking. Listen.
So yeah, no, just to fill you in. When we were talking earlier, I suggested that maybe Girls for a 3 should go and volunteer with helping blind people so that they could meet a blind dude who'll be with them. And Kat's wonderful advice to the world was, there you have it, guys. So if you're a 3, learn sign language. So that's the best skill you can have.
No, you didn't, seriously. Was she eating at the time? Was she distracted?
No, she wasn't distracted at all.
She hasn't been exposed to these type of people before. She's never been exposed to a blind person. She's like, and then when she has, she thought they were sighted. So it could be like her environment. She's so sheltered that she has not been, in the presence of these wonderful people, which have amazing hearing and sense.
Fine, tap dance.
FYI, tap dance.
I don't know.
Well, you're right.
They might like the noise.
No, if you're able to do Morse code with tap dancing, I don't know how you're going to do the long notes, but you could. Yeah, you could do that.
All right, this has been another great episode of whatever it is we do, insanity and shit. So thank you all for coming. And anything else you want to leave anybody with? Do you have any thoughts? Final thoughts, Steven? No.
You don't want me to get.
Okay, we don't.
It's just
all right. And we already asked Daemon, do we ask you for your final thoughts yet for today?
I'm good.
We're good.
He's
Everybody's good. Everybody is good. If Simperius is here, he's got 1 minute to come in and he can pop in. But
Are you sure you want to?
He's not here. But if he you only got that 1 minute, because I said, hey, at the end, you got 1 minute. If you're not here in 1 minute, it is what it is. Anyways, I will see you all next time. Have a great weekend. And I need a link to grids. Let me get that for everybody. Since he brings peeps here, I cannot send you there automatically because I am not monetized. But everybody go check out Grid. He's cool. Friend of the show.
We wish him well.
We wish him well. And we wish you all well and have a great night. And we'll see you next time.
Good night.
Adios.